Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another Sci-Fi Shadow Chat. This one's going to be a bit of a toughie, um, but first, my good friend George, waiting in the wings, having technical difficulty. Welcome to that club. Oh my God, what a freaking week, right, folks? I just spent the last 6 hours putting together a wall unit with the help of the whole fam family, and we're still not done. Still got to put the doors, a couple of shelves, plug everything in, and get all that stuff situated. But I've been watching a lot of videos on astrophysics and Professor Feynman, and a couple of channels copying the Space Dude, mostly like AI generated astrophysics, top 10 scariest this, most unbelievable that sort of videos, trying to get inspiration for an upcoming sci-fi game or two that I'd like to run. And a lot of it is, in a way, disheartening for avid sci-fi fans like myself, where everything's impossible, it can't be done, blah blah blah. Which I don't necessarily discount at all. As a matter of fact, I think and have thought
Hmm.
for most of my sci-fi enjoyment or enjoying career that most of it
Oh,
is, kind of a pipe dream. What's up, George?
hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
I think the camera, the phone that I use, turned off.
It's got
Okay.
a weird icon that I've never seen before, but it's kind of high techy looking. So what the hell, right?
Yeah, I
There
think
you
I got
go.
it.
There we go. Nice picture of your desk. I'm guessing dice
Yeah, in my dice.
container. Nice. There we go.
Let's see. Let's see my frame.
You're good. You're good. Get the bird's eye view for you. At least it's not the Garibay up the nose cam. I think we've all had enough of that to last a lifetime. So how you been, man?
Oh, good. Just been. I put in a standing desk here, and I know I'm too tired to sit in it. So, and of course, it's
I
not
kind of want to
complete.
do that too. I hear they're much better for you, but I'm uh, tired, so that'll be
Yeah.
a project for a later day. Man, I thought I got a great deal on this wall unit. I did, $250 for a 6 7 foot by 7 foot wall unit to
Mhm.
hold the TV and all the video games and organize stuff that had been absolutely embarrassing to look at for a while. It showed up and it came with this really thin, like melamine sort of almost MDF, and right off the bat, it was shattered in three places, and I'm like, oh crap, it's broken. I haven't even, I just got it, and it's already,
Yeah.
in pieces. And then I saw this sticker that kind of indicated, as far as I can tell, because it's done, that it was just packing material, but it was a interesting kind of, it had lots of styrofoam and foam padding and wrap and all that. It was
Mhm.
all things seemed to be fine, but the first thing I saw was this stuff that how a lot of wall units and bookshelves
Yeah.
have that really thin backing board. And I'm like, crap, right out the box, that stuff's broken. But it wasn't that. And I was trying to explain to my son when we were putting it together how the back, even though it's really thin and flimsy and whatnot, it's like if that looks bad, the whole thing looks like crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One little nick, one little bulge or scrape or scratch or
Yeah. Because
bend.
like, yeah, you scratch something and it's not the same color underneath. It's
Mhm,
like paper.
mhm. Yeah, and this was no different. The sheets of it that we had, and of course it was uh, in such a way that every time we put and slid those panels in, it would bow and not quite fit. Even at the end, one end was like too short by like a millimeter, so you can see that little crack. So I'm gonna have to hide
Yeah.
something, put something there to hide it. But so far it turned out to be a good deal, and it
Yeah.
really uh, livened up the place. It's all white like this stuff, so everything's bright and cheery. I don't, everything I wear is black, but all my furniture is white, just because it's better for the ambiance and whatnot. I see folks with like black bookshelves, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a
Yeah.
regular habit of dusting you've got set up for yourself, isn't it? 'Cause it's like
Yeah.
it just sucks in the dust.
Yeah. I like woods and stuff, but yeah, it just so much compared to this white on a wall and stuff. It's like a black hole. It just absorbs it all.
And not
I
only
mean,
that, but it also makes the room feel bigger. Mind you,
yeah,
I did get rid of a crap ton of stuff in that room, but it just seems like we just added, a whole bunch of square footage to the room. It looks really nice,
hmm
and maybe I'll show you guys a picture of it when I'm done. The garage is almost done. Also, a huge improvement. So spring cleaning is well underway at La Casa de Sambre. So yeah, I'm exhausted. But I wanted to talk about sci-fi and real world physics. I don't know if you're a big fan of it.
Oh yeah,
If you
I listen
study
to
it,
Isaac Arthur and all those guys, like the
yeah, Hart,
futurists.
that poor guy. He's one of the best, but it's just like, dude, oh, maybe, maybe he's a good case for AI narrations.
Yeah, it's like,
Just
well, his earliest videos, like yeah,
he,
yeah,
he
he,
knows what he has, and balls of giant balls of brass to go ahead and do what he does anyways, and to be as successful as he is at
yeah,
doing it is like you're a freaking genius.
yeah.
um,
Yeah. Well, this is one of the things. Like it almost like it kind of learning that stuff kind of makes me
go
sad about
James.
the kind of some of the notions of like faster than light travel. It's impossible. Pretty much, it's basically like a whole energy problem. It's like yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's a
want to you
never
want to get to like
ending.
Elf. Yeah,
Proxima Centauri, our closest neighbor,
yeah,
a meager 4 light years, but what would require all of the fuel in the universe to get a one-man ship there, because
yeah,
of the expanding exponential requirement of fuel. But a lot of sci-fi IPs, if you will, decided to say, okay, well, we're just not going to do that. We'll
yeah,
have warp drives, or we'll use crystals, or we'll use other things, and that's kind of what
yeah.
I want to talk about, because
W-
there is a big subgenre where it is as close to realistic sci-fi,
mhm,
physics, where they deal with all the real stuff and just throw a little bit of sci-fi in there, in as much as that we've actually done anything since the 70s, because for
mhm.
some reason we just decided to stop going to the moon, which blows my freaking mind. Either we never went there, and that makes sense why we're not going back, or what? There's nothing there. There's rocks, rocks.
Yeah. Well, so,
There's helium-3. There's all kinds of crazy shit up there, and just the idea of throwing more telescopes up there to get that much of a head start on looking around.
yeah.
Um,
Well, that kind of leads to the whole like the idea that the Fermi paradox.
right,
Have
right.
you heard of that? I guess the whole notion is, I guess Enrico Fermi said, it's not really a paradox technically. It's just like he, based on the idea that no, we were just saying like that it's very hard to get to Alpha Centauri, but given enough time, we could get there. Maybe generation
Well,
ships or just some really more efficient technology that's possible. You can get there in a lifetime or less than a lifetime. And
it's more like
the
400 years at our best bet,
so, yeah,
which
something
means
like that.
you got a generation ship, and then you have to have in that generation ship you have to never have a never ending supply of air, water, gravity,
Yeah,
food, and then and to carry all that you need even more fuel. And let's just assume you're not using fuel and you have enough room for all of that. Then there's this issue that most people don't talk about, which is the psychological aspect of what those people are going to be like after a
yeah,
couple of generations. They're going to be revolting, but they can't go back. They're going to be all
yeah,
pissed off that they're stuck in this life of living in these halls in the ship, only to do somebody else's bidding, no matter what they
Yeah.
do.
So one thing it could be in the form of like, so let's say they have the whole ideas like
The
how much
vouchers
the population grows, and like doubles every so many years and things like that, and even given like conservative numbers, like life would like fill a civilization could fill the planet eventually after a few thousand years would probably need to
and
be
then
in
there's the
space
problem
and
the problem
yeah.
of we are specifically designed, almost created, if you will, to
Hmm.
live only on Earth. Everywhere else, there are consequences. Even in
What?
the space stations,
Mhm.
after a couple of months or years, whatever, uh, you
Yeah.
change and you can't come back. You go to
Yeah.
Mars and you can't come back because your body's already gone through such a ringer
Yeah.
that when you got back to Earth, you just crumble and die. You
And
know,
the funny thing is we're also the best adapted to go into space out of whatever's on Earth. Like if you
right?
sent like a dog into
Except
space,
occupied.
yeah, like you say, you have a dog in the car and he's just like, outside and running around. He's like run circles around you. He's nimble and everything. You put him in the car, they don't even understand inertia and things, and they're just flopping back and forth. The poor things.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they couldn't also handle like a lot of the pressure things, even if they had like the intelligence and stuff. Like a lot of the, I think there's some theories that we may have had like a that whole idea of the missing link. They used to talk about it in the '70s a lot. That
Sure.
maybe that missing part of the fossil record where we were kind of semi-aquatic, like a proboscis monkey or like a macaque, where we were swimming a
Hmm.
lot, and we kind of evolved a little bit. And we have some interesting traits about us that hint to that. Like I think 2% of the
Hmm.
population still have webbed toes when they're born.
Hmm.
They're
Hmm.
our
I used to
hair
know a girl
grows.
with web toes. It was weird. It was weird.
Our hair grows in a funny direction. Like our hair grows in a direction of like flow, of like as if you were swimming. It actually seems to grow in that direction. Like a
Hmm.
dog, their hair kind of grows all different ways. Using the dog as
Have
an
you met my
example.
dog? Oh my God, he had a full bath and a partial trim, and he's already looking like Dog Marley again. Just
Yeah, it's
not
starting
a
to.
fan.
It's warmed up now, and now she's starting. Mine is
And
starting to
James brings
shed.
up a great point. Astronauts have to train every day, and they still come back losing mass, and they
Hmm.
are weak as hell. And here we have our good friend Off Grid. What's happening, bro? Get in here.
Hey, fellas.
What's happening, man?
Not too much. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. I'm gonna kill this because it just kind of is overlaid right over your
Feel like
face.
I'm in the
That
Matrix.
ain't cool. Yeah, it's funny. When before the show starts, and I have the chat going up, it hey, what's up, Legacy? Long time no see, man. You want to join my? I don't know if you're on my Discord. If not, I might be willing to put the link for you in the Discord or James L. But I got to see you in the green room to know it's you. Uh, Damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, I'm old. It happens. It happens every day. Uh,
Usually, if I hold a thought too long, or if I like, yeah, usually if I hold a thought too long, I'll lose it.
yeah, it's just poof. I've had some issues with other streamers. Where I'll interrupt and it's like, guys, if I don't, I lose something, and it's probably a $1 million comment, and my brain just cannot comprehend the idea of trying to hold on to what were we talking about again?
Exactly.
Yeah, the whole premise
So
of B5 with the artificial gravity.
yeah,
Um, I was also thinking about with genetic engineering and tampering with the human
yeah.
genome and things like that. Eventually, sure, but you know, there's like there's a big old pie of different freaking things holding us back from doing
Yeah.
all the cool stuff,
Well,
and
yeah.
which one
Well,
do you tackle?
the gravity part is kind of the simplest one to answer, right? But it's hard because when you want to try to make it comfortable, you need to make it like it's the whole spin gravity notion. For anybody who's not familiar with it, it's sort of like you take a bucket
You
of water and
create
you
a centrifugal
yeah.
kind of gravity.
Centrifugal effect. You swing a bucket of water on a rope and it doesn't fall out because
Yep.
there's
Pulling
something
in.
like because gravity is like an acceleration,
Yep.
and when you're going in a circle, you're technically accelerating towards the center. which is yeah. Um, I was trying to explain it to my kids, and I think they didn't quite. They thought I was crazy. So they, you ever see those like in 2001, the space station that's kind of spinning in the air, it looks like a giant wheel,
No,
and the
those are the
notion is
best.
that you're literally like walking on the inside of it. You're kind of that's where you're
The way
walking.
Kubrick did that was just,
Yeah.
again, that movie and that whole station had so much influence on Traveler.
Hmm.
The lab ship that you had in my game,
Oh yeah.
the whole concept of that. And Rick from 28 millimeter RPG ran me through a game where we were in one of those, and I could just because of that movie, I could picture all of the different little nuances about it. Uh, from having watched 2001 many many times. Anybody ever read the comic books?
Nope.
No, no,
Mm,
I'm the only
no,
one.
I didn't.
Yeah, they were kind of weird. They were fun. I'm gonna try and find the big uh, what do they call them, those
Omnibus.
big giant versions of the comic books.
Omnibus.
They were like this big. They're like bigger than a record album comic books. They're like giant. I forget what they call those
The
now.
oversized ones.
Yeah.
The
Treasury
Like there
magazine.
was.
edition.
Thank
Treasury
you, thank
edition.
you. Absolutely, thank you. I have about a dozen of them. I really want the Superman versus Muhammad Ali,
That's a good one.
and I
Spider-Man
had
versus Superman's another good one.
yeah. I want the 2001, the Battlestar Galactica, the Wizard of Oz, and there's another one that's high on my list. I think it's either Tomb of Dracula or I want to say well, I definitely absolutely want the Captain Marvel family ones because I had that one as a kid, and I always loved that comic book. And it after the TV show, it just freaking died. That whole character arc and all that stuff just gone.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, James. We need to get you even a decent, brand new like 150 $200 tablet will get you on the show. Like, I mean, I ran this show on a $150 tablet for, as soon as we got to the studio, I didn't even have my laptop that I'm using now, and it did everything you need, and it was it worked, and
Mhm.
frick, James, you're one of my best friends. Having you on the show is uh, you know a great way to end the week. It was first thing. Wife wakes me up 7 o'clock in the morning, off to the grocery store. As soon as I get back, putting the wall unit together, uh, and I had like 15 minutes to get the show. When you make one of these shows, you got to like do some stuff in the back room with Restream, and Restream, for whatever reason, George, uh, it's not your thumbnails. It's just Restream being freaking finicky,
Hmm.
and like if I create the title and do a bunch of stuff and then click add the thumbnail, it's like, oh no, we can't do that. Sorry, Dave, we can't do that. But if I do the thumbnail first, it's like, oh, okay, I guess you're gonna use this thumbnail, are you? And they're always made by George. You guys, if you haven't heard, he does all my thumbnail work, and they're absolutely perfect every single time.
I'm proud of the last
Good
one.
job
I
with
think
that
that
too.
was kind of
Yeah,
fun.
the second breakfast was good. It was really good. I think it was kind of a surprise to a lot of people that we were doing it, even though I did an announcement and blah blah blah. But I think we'll have more people come join us and hang out. Uh, Off grid, of course, you're always welcome, James. If you want to come and join, I think the time, 9 a.m. in the morning, my time might be better for you than right now. I don't know. Actually, I think you're about to have dinner, right? Um, I was thinking that like there's some really good sci-fi games out there. Metamorphosis Alpha, one of the first, if not the first, tackled like the main things. It's all aboard a generation ship, so you don't have to worry about any of the movement to travel, all that stuff. You're on a big freaking ship. It's a slow boat to freaking wherever, and your whole game is that. Okay, that's cool. And there was that movie, I forget what it was called, that was on a generation ship where everybody went crazy. And they didn't realize they'd already landed or something on like a water world or some shit.
Generation ships would be a great setting for like a horror type,
Yeah, it was kind of a
Yeah.
horror movie.
zombie virus outbreak type thing.
I think there is one where people start waking up and the ship's just trashed because previous generations had woken up. But that was the thing I wanted to talk about was uh, uh, suspended animation. I remember back when I was a wee lad. I don't remember how old, but like less than, let's say, 12. And I watched a video where they froze a hamster in a solid block of ice and brought it back. Pandorum, was that it? Brian, okay, if you're going to chime in, you got to come in. Those are the rules for you and you only. Um, is that a Sunday afternoon there? Well, happy Sunday. Um, yeah, it was an awesome movie and it was pretty freaky, right up there with Event Horizon. But I was thinking, and it was weird because I know I saw this video on some science show where they froze a freaking hamster. And I want to say they like microwaved him back to life. I know that's not what they did, but it was like, they threw him in something and brought his ass back. Okay, and I'm
I
like,
guess it could work on defrost mode, like the lowest setting.
I know that's not what happened, but that's the way it looked, to my 12-year-old brain. And I'm like, well, if they could do it with a freaking hamster, the only issue would be mental function. A hamster doesn't
Mhm.
really, have but like three functions. Eat, sleep, make more hamsters.
Yeah.
Uh,
And there was that
but
whole
if they,
thing of like freezing people after they died.
oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's a weird uh, tangent of it. But I suppose that would be kind of crazy too if like they filled up like a ship full of dead bodies, hoping that the aliens would bring them back. Just assume that the aliens wouldn't even know that they were dead.
We're currently at the technology level though where they
and
can
this is a
transfer
zombie.
consciousness.
Sorry.
So all they need to do is just clone new bodies for the consciousness. As long as they can put the consciousness into a crystal or something that'll survive like a electromagnetic storm or whatever, then it can basically last forever, and you just need the cloning tech to transfer the consciousness in.
Yeah, that's the
We're
thing
already kind
about
of there.
transferring consciousness. I always worries me. Is it like because transferring consciousness and copying consciousness?
Hmm.
How do you tell the difference? It's like you're copying and deleting, or are you
Well,
literally
it's
moving the
You're
consciousness?
transferring it
Yeah.
more
I
than
had this
copying.
game. I had this game where we stole two ideas: uh, transporter technology and total recall technology.
Hmm.
Okay, well, if you can download memories and crap, which means you could download skills and all kinds of other mental things. You could literally, and then you've got a transporter technology. Let's say you could start literally making custom people, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, you
With
just need to transfer
mix
your
and match
consciousness
memories.
across space to the clone at
Well,
the speed of
what
whatever.
we were doing was just taking memories and adding them to other memories.
Hmm.
So okay, I need this
Fake
skill,
memories.
pop it, and make
Oh,
up a whole new amalgamated being,
memory nodes.
which after a certain amount of time you would think would get a soul or maybe start with one, but it would be all freaking wackadoodle because it's got the memories of 18 different people running around trying
Because
to
you
make
pulled the
sense of things.
skills from these people and they have like little remainders from the
Mhm.
previous owner. So it's almost like Johnny Mnemonic in a way. You got like memory
Yeah,
module and skill module
Yeah.
kind of thing. That's
exactly,
cool.
exactly. And there's also the dichotomy of uh, if you transfer your intelligence, uh, it's not really you, and you put it in
Mhm.
another body that's not really you. Like if you go into a transporter, you die, and that's not really you coming out
Hmm.
the other end.
Yeah.
So eventually you could have an entire species of dead, reincarnated, whatever you want to call it, people, and none of which technically have their original souls.
Hmm.
You could
Yeah.
have a very uh, very cynical society arise from that would then make for a great bad guy because they've all been they've all gone through the transporter, Maybe even it's like kind of a Logan's Run renew thing, where at 13 they throw you in the transporter, and while they're throwing you in the transporter, they're taking out defects, but they're also throwing in programming and obedience factors and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Some believe it's our defects that make us us and not simply our perfections
Oh,
and things. It's the
absolutely,
defect.
absolutely.
So
I
if you were
mean,
transferring consciousness, the person doing it would probably be shaving off all the things they thought were imperfections and thus take away the humanity.
Yeah.
It'd be more like data
think
on the
about
other end.
Yeah.
think about it
Take away
like
that
like
memory of like that ex girlfriend or something.
think about like exactly like dating. How many times have you like dated a woman that everybody else was like but then there was like there was like an imperfection that made you like interested in the first place.
Yeah. The
You
mole,
know,
for instance, is an
or
example
whatever.
of the mole.
Maybe if we got a
Extra
mole fetish,
goofy.
The beauty
no
mark.
shame here. But yeah, I've known different women that my friends are like why I'm like it's those imperfections that especially if you're uh, I'm not going to go into that. That might come off the wrong way,
Did you?
but those are all those little defects. I mean, here's let's take like Elon Musk for example. He, is supposed to be one of the smartest men in the world, right? That guy is a weirdo. Okay, I mean, not talking about like the stuff he might be doing in the background or whatever. Whenever he, is in front of a camera, he is awkward. He has
Yeah.
some very, he doesn't act like everybody else. And is that because he's so smart, or because of the experiences he's had, or were some of those very traits that helped him, get to where he is?
I think he
Because
has social anxiety. And like that probably did help him because it makes someone stay introverted and stay in their head and unlock ideas and buckle down and do things rather than being out partying and socializing, say.
Mhm.
So maybe it did help him. Yeah.
Same thing with like let's go the opposite sort of end of the spectrum, musicians and artists.
Hmm.
A lot of those guys are messed up, really, really, really messed up in ways that we, it probably wouldn't switch places with them because of those things that we might get a little glimpse of. But then if we ever met them, I knew this guitarist. He was like freaking absolutely amazing, right? But he was the just socially awkward and couldn't play in front of more than half a dozen people, or he would
Hmm.
just couldn't do it. Couldn't get over the stage fright and the awkwardness. But you hear him playing in the next room, and you're just like, oh my god, what's going on over there? That's amazing. You should record that or whatever. I don't care.
When people are wizards at that type of thing, they're so narrowly pursued to it that it doesn't allow them to be well rounded.
uh,
I find that's in
freaking
generalization, but
Mhm.
that's what I find.
Yeah.
It's
But
probably
back to the freezing, or the whatever they would do to put you in hibernation. I think that would be, and it's always, since I saw the hamster, been one of those things that I was fascinated by, and I thought that would be one of the greatest tropes and vehicles to get over those speed bumps or those hindrances or those impossibilities. If you built a solid state, just state of the art, absolute uh, sturdy vehicle that for the most part was holding the people in suspended animation, and whenever they got to wherever they got to, it had the stuff for them to start,
Mhm.
being the settlers, the colonists, in the old fashioned way. Something you're pretty familiar with. You get a bunch of mountain men and survivalists and things like that, more so than engineers or in starship engineering kind of thing. Of course,
Mhm.
you're going to need those guys, but I mean, you never see. You might have the weapons expert, the security specialist guy, but the shows never, or books or TV shows or whatever movies, they never have that freaking hardcore freaking. I will, professor from Gilligan's Island. I will make a freaking running car out of coconuts and some bamboo. You know,
MacGyver.
Yeah.
the
Make the
the
handyman the hero, like a handyman or
the,
something.
right, the MacGyver, the guy who knows all the tricks, the first aid, the food, the water purification, and all those different things, is as a super valued, you know officer, maybe even of the crew. Just this guy can survive on any planet, and as long as there's air and water, this guy, he's going to be leading the away team, not the freaking charismatic face guy. Because what if there's nothing but things that want to eat you, want to eat your
Mhm.
face? You're going to throw the face guy. Okay, eat him first. Now what do we do? We can't talk to the creatures. Let's what? Just run, go back to the ship. No, you need some guys who can find the right location to set up camp and to do all that stuff.
Mhm. A
The
good
tinkerers,
captain's a
sure,
rare
sure.
thing. The amount of skills that they need to have to be a good captain, that's a rare thing to find in one individual.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like, uh, hold on a second. I'm gonna have to leave you guys for a second. I'm getting a phone call from who. Carry on.
Yep.
All
But I
right.
was thinking earlier with those crystals, it's kind of Superman kind of already did that. How, like Kal-El's father was like
Hmm.
downloaded his consciousness into a crystal that he just had to stick in, the crystalline fiber optic machine and basically
Yeah.
bring him back. And they even mastered putting people into those crystals because they did that with those three Kryptonians, the
Yeah. Was
criminals.
that?
They stuck them in crystals,
Oh yeah.
and they
Okay.
just broke, and then suddenly they popped out of them or whatever, like a piece of glass, basically.
Yeah. You ever seen a Caprica? It's like a spin-off of the new Battlestar Galacticas.
I heard of it. I never watched the whole
Yeah,
thing, but I remember.
they kind of addressed that. Oh, one of the biggest themes in that show was because basically there's a scientist. He's kind of developing the Cylons, but he's
Mhm.
developing other things, and he has this daughter. And there are all these people that I guess they when just before they die, they or when they're they're projecting themselves to be dying, they would upload their consciousness, or probably
Yep.
maybe they would regularly upload their consciousness to like an internet type thing.
Yeah, like a
And that was like
cloud
a
consciousness transference.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it would and that would be like heaven or something, and it was like this company, and then I think, and everyone's like, oh, this is a weird cult, kind of thing. And the scientist, I guess his daughter died, and there was something happens where her consciousness gets unloaded, but it gets uploaded into this Cylon robot that
Hmm.
he was making. It's pretty
And that's
interesting.
where it kind of started the whole thing of basically like the Cylons needed that consciousness transference in order to replace people secretly. Like they needed to be able to
Yeah,
grab, the old person, the human they were going to replace secretly, like with a Cylon mole, like
yeah,
almost an exact copy kind of thing. So yeah, they had to have that under wraps first.
and there's
But
a whole
that's
like
like kind of a form of eternal life, I suppose. But
yeah.
leaves the whole soul spirit equation out of it, out of the equation.
And there's the whole notion, like with they were talking about Star Trek, where like do you just die in the transporter and there's a new person that's like thinks that they're you?
Well, yeah, how does that fit into carbon zero? Because like, would you leave all your carbon behind, and then you'd like there'd be a whole new carbonization on the other end? Would you be like doubling your
It would
carbon every time in the universe
you would
for
well it
like
would be
those people out there that worry about their carbon footprint?
yeah. It would turn you into energy and then back into whatever you were accurately, but probably is impossible. But
It literally
um,
disintegrates you then, because if
yeah,
it's not leaving a trace behind in any form.
but somehow there's that whole thing about like even sometimes like when I watch some of these physics shows and they're a little bit beyond me. Like like the information exists, so
Hmm.
like there's this notion that like everything's reversible. Like if you like run time backwards, you could, or like you can, in theory, you could, like run things backwards. Have it. There's enough
Hmm.
information in what exists to run things backwards and see what happened. And they're like one of the reasons like black holes and singularities give them trouble, besides like the whole infinite density and things like that, is that it destroys that information.
Hmm.
Though, and then like but also the other thing about black holes is they evaporate slowly through I forget what they call it, but basically basically what it is in the universe, particles, they kind of appear in pairs and then they just disappear. And they're
Mhm.
always doing that. But let's say two particles, if they appear near a black hole in pairs, the one particle goes into the black hole and the other one shoots off. And now it's like
Yeah.
it's Hawking radiation is what they call it.
Mhm.
And so now that black hole is actually emitting a particle, but where does that mass come from? It comes from the black hole supposedly. But like when something comes into the black hole, things come out of the black hole, but all that information that whatever went in got destroyed. So it makes scientists upset, I guess. Because
Well, then you're saying that the black hole is always going to win because two go in, one comes out,
yeah,
basically.
well,
So the universe will eventually be whittled down to nothing
yeah, well,
by black holes.
Yeah,
even
that
black
is
holes
something that I
will
have actually heard.
even
I've been
black
watching.
holes will evaporate.
I've been watching like almost nonstop, nothing but astrophysics videos for the last month instead of other things. Just getting trying to get ideas, for this show and for games that I want to run because like a lot of them, I was thinking about it today. They have most people are perfectly fine with not knowing or not caring that the science doesn't work. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
it's like once you know, you can't
yeah,
you can't make it go away. You can't suspend your disbelief entirely. It's weird because um, not last week, but the week before, literally at church, our deacon, I told the story before, was literally talking about one of the very same videos DM James and I had just got through watching about the transporter. And I'm just like, freaking small world. I don't even know my deacon very well. I've talked to him one time, and he is like he was talking to me is like without his part of the sermon. I was like, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me, man? We can't go in the transporter. I'm not going. It's cool. I'm not going in the suicide booth. It's fine. Uh,
The last mass I went to, took dad to a confession mass, and it's a big brown bat flying around in the church. It's had like wingspan, like bigger than I can show you, basically. But it was flying around, and everybody's freaking out and pulling their hoods up, and the bats, poor bats, losing it, right? Because the sound of the acoustics in a church and people are singing and the music's going, it's probably just driving it crazy.
mm,
And everybody's just going around. One guy was like saying, "I'll go kill it. I've killed 3 already." And he's like this Asian guy at the church, and I'm like thinking, "Okay, settle down. We don't need to be kung fu in the bats." And he was actually doing. He's like, "I'll kill it." He's like, he did like a kung fu stance in the aisle. I'm like, "What the heck did I walk into here, man?" It's like it's a church. What's going on? And so
that's
I'm like, I just go
awesome.
to the back and I open up both doors and I just kind of tell everybody, it's like, be calm. There's a bat in there. And eventually the bat just flew out the double doors and I closed the
I
doors.
had I had a run in with a carpenter bee. It's weird where I live. Every like I don't say about 6 years, one carpenter bee decides to come at me. And I
Yeah.
saw a carpenter bee once in the blink of an eye dig a hole that I could stick my freaking thumb in a freaking 4x4 of solid freaking pine. Just went brrrr, and I saw the
Fast.
sawdust come kicking out. I'm like, oh my god!
Did
If
out
you
of a
if one of those
cartoon.
things thought I was made out of wood or just got a freaking hankering for some shadow blood, he could drill right through me like in
hmm
the
Yeah.
hell is that? And then one came at me today, and I'm like, all right, I wanted to
You
smack the
might have a
shit out of
nest
it.
nearby, or they might be in a tree or something. They're being
But
aggressive.
it's exactly one freaking carpenter
Uh,
bee. And it just comes in to my sphere, just like, hey, dude, watch, look what I can do. Look what I can do. Through the wood, and he only went in like 6 inches or so, and then said, nah, I'm out of here.
I showed you
Hmm.
the pictures of
Okay.
those hornets that we get out here. They're those giant European hornets. I thought it was one of those Japanese murder hornets, but it's like the next smallest
I,
one to that, next biggest.
I'm certain there's a slew of reasons it's not the bats.
I'm actually guilty of in the church. It was funny. I was, as soon as I saw a bat in a church, I was like, "Oh, there's a bat in the belfry tonight." Like I went into the Joker. thing from the '88 Batman.
It was
It was
Ozzy
loud enough for
Osbourne.
like people from two rows to kind of like look back at me, and one person chuckled, so he got it. The other person didn't even know it was a bat. Didn't know it. Probably thought I was bats or batty.
Roy Betty.
I don't go to church. All the damn bats, says Weird World War II.
Hmm. But the suspended animation opens up like not just for like space travel storylines, but you get your like from the movie Coma. You remember that story
Oh my.
where they were harvesting organs back before harvesting organs was cool. It's never been cool, but you get that kind of storyline. You got the guy trying to outlive everybody else, or freezes Walt Disney head, or all kinds of different little things you could use that for, not just getting over that speed bump of time and distance for space travel, but that too. I mean, you have like a great way to get like weird characters into a like a colony ship scenario, because you've got people who may be sort of stowed away by
Mhm.
replacing somebody. You've got the serial killer or the wanted criminal.
Yeah.
There's now
Yeah.
waking up with the rest of the crew, or
You,
somebody else.
you guys ever
Uh,
see Passenger? I forget who's in it. What's
No,
Jennifer
I can't.
Lawrence is in it. It's kind of like a long distance ship that going from like star to star in the
okay.
future, and everybody's asleep, even like the crew are asleep. And this
Hmm.
one guy, I forget who plays him. I have to look it
Oh
up.
wait, I heard
But
about that one. Yeah,
the
he
and his pod malfunctions, so he's on the ship going crazy by himself. All he has is like an AI bartender. It's like
Mhm.
Mm.
serving him drinks and stuff or whatever. He's
Okay,
losing his
that could be
mind, and
fun.
he's passing by and he's looking at all the people happily sleeping. They'll probably won't wake up for like 10 years or something, and he's going crazy. And of course, there's beautiful Jennifer Lawrence laying there, and he's imagining her to be the perfect girl of his dreams, and he's having a really bad day, and then he basically opens the
crack her
machine,
open.
cracked her
Wakes
open,
her up.
and yep,
Need a girlfriend.
and
It's a long
it's like,
trip.
oh, I don't know, your machine must have malfunctioned too. I was going crazy for the past year and a half, whatever it was. Like,
Hmm.
But the guilt
or
probably
or
eats
you've got the whole situation like I forget what her name was in Planet of the Apes, the female astronaut who never woke up because her cryo tube broke.
yeah.
So now you've got that valuable member of the crew that
Mhm.
they're dead. Because they're dead, the whole mission could be in jeopardy,
Hmm.
and now everybody else has to step up and try to find a way to replace that member, skill wise or expertise wise, to make sure that everything doesn't just go tits up because your engineer's gone, or the computer programmer, or you know any number of vital crew positions is now they're gone. What are you
Mhm.
going to do?
Hi, Bo Paints.
Well, I had one idea for space travel. I'm sure it's all been had before, but I
What's up,
thought a
bud?
cool one would be where you basically transfer your thought. You can store them in your consciousness in crystals, but you can transfer them through light, or the transfer of light at fast speed through nodes across space.
Yeah.
At the destinations, you have basically crates that have basically androids or robots that the thoughts download into. So that the consciousness goes into robots at the location, or you bring robots with you in your ship. So if
What
you
was
lose
that?
the memory,
Altered
if you
carbon,
beam into those
Altered carbon, yeah.
robots. Pardon?
like altered carbon,
I haven't
right?
seen that. Altered
Yeah,
carbon.
that's kind of similar where
You'd
you would
like
like,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't like faster than light travel or anything, but you could travel the speed of light in your consciousness to another body. I don't know if
Yep.
I think the body was not, it was like a cadaver or something like that. I'm not quite sure where they got the bodies from. Maybe they made them. And
Test
then,
tube
yeah,
clones type thing.
To sum it up, kind of, uh, during the first season, I think it's on Netflix. The first season, there's a certain actor playing the character. Something bad happens. Second season, he's played by a completely different actor.
Hmm.
So they could,
So they
swap
fit it
bodies,
into the
Doctor Who
story.
style or whatever, and you could just keep going on and on and on. And of course, it becomes a commodity that only certain people can have access to because
Mhm.
that's the way it would be. The rich and famous can bounce around from body to body, living thousands of years, where everybody else is a plebe, and they never have that luxury. And once you have that sort of technology available, it's going to
Social
slowly
sanity.
but surely only the the wealthiest of wealthy
Mhm.
can have it, and you're going to create a dynasty of immortals that
Elysium
run.
vibes. That Elysium. Only the rich got it. Have you seen Elysium?
No,
A breakaway civilization kind of thing.
Yeah, like
no.
they basically all the elites went out to a space station that orbits Earth, and they have all the tech to erase
Okay.
cancer and all illnesses. They basically live forever in luxury, and everybody's kind of on like factory farms,
Hmm.
poverty on Earth.
I will have to look that one up.
Matt
Yeah,
Damon
I liked the
is in
first
it.
season of Altered Carbon. Second
Matt
season, not
Damon.
so much. But there were a
Like,
bunch of things about even the first season I didn't like. But it was definitely interesting and worth the watch. Um, that's kind of the way these really like breakout sci-fi shows. They start really strong, and then some shenanigans, some chicanery going on in the back that just rips them a new one and destroys whatever. Uh, there's like a list I have on Netflix of shows that I go check to
Mhm.
see if season 2 or season 3 ever came out. Like The Zoo. Did you guys ever watch that one?
No.
It was about all the animals on Earth suddenly starting to team up to get rid of humanity.
Hmm.
All of them. Every suddenly, like all the animals had like telepathy or something. They just
mm,
knew, and they were just like the firefly. Yeah, they were just little things here and there. People getting certain people in very crucial places uh, getting killed that starts having a chain reaction. It was really good. That was it. Season 1 never went back. Um, Dark Matter went for like 2 or 3 seasons. Season 3, I think, ended with this great freaking cliffhanger that never found out what happened.
A lot of people have
Firefly,
great ideas and
thing,
can't land them.
all these great shows that they just shit can when it's like even Lost in Space with what's her name?
uh,
Uh,
gosh,
you,
I forget her
the
name, but
child,
yeah,
it was really
Parker
good.
Posey.
Parker Posey, right, right, weirdo, but she was great as Dr. Smith. It was like, oh, they gender swapped, and I'm like watching. I'm like, I kind of dig her. She's kind of, kind of creepy and kind of ruthless, and that if you had the two different alternate dimension Doctor Smiths, Parker Posey would have just kicked that
Oh
mincing
dear.
ass, just like freaking shanked him first 5 seconds. Oh no, you got to go. At least, at the very least, she'd be doing the world a favor and getting rid of one more pedo. Um, but I digress. But shows like that just come out strong, really good, really, and then yeah, thanks, Bo. Anyone want to paint some minis? I am actually. I finally got the other tread to this weird thing. It's kind of derpy as
Oh,
hell,
cool.
but
That's
that's
different.
why I like it. But here, let me show
It's
you
like a
why.
crib. Is there some guy like sits in there with two guns or something?
That's the thing is like here's a 28 millimeter woman in the driver's thing, and it just looks wrong. It looks like a baby carriage. And then there's this like window somewhere that you can put over to cover this, and it makes it a little better because then you could, just have to imagine how people sit in there. Like maybe you can
Mhm.
actually fit more than one person in there, so it doesn't look kind of dumb.
It looks like it's one person thing almost, like the way the design is at the
Yeah,
back
the back, yeah,
behind
the
it, like a
seat.
seat. Like yeah,
That's a pram. What's a pram?
It's a Baby
It's like a
carriage.
tram.
Oh,
It's
okay.
British for
Well,
baby carriage.
I got it with some other stuff. I like it, and then I'm working on this crane, trying to make it look, industrial yellow and grungy and beat up. And
It's like Rogue Prammer. There you go.
I never heard that word before. You're cleaning up some gobos. She was a smoke show back in the day, huh? I don't remember what she was from. I thought she was like a child actress or something, or in some sort of like legal lawyer kind of show or something. I don't know. I had no clue who she was. She's just kind of,
She was. I
kind of quirky.
remember she was in
Again,
a
with
lot
the
of independent films. I remember I used to like back in the like '90s and early 2000s. That independent film channel had some really cool stuff, and then like it just became crap. But
but
like yeah,
she's
she
another
was doing some
perfect
cool stuff.
example of the little imperfections.
Hmm.
She's kind of odd, and that's what made her famous or desirable to be in people's movies and stuff. So preambulator, I have never heard that word either. Wow, I'm just freaking boosting my vocabulary today. Two words I will never use again, I'm certain. One of those 1990s indie darlings. Yeah, I was nowhere near a screen most of the 90s. I was actually mostly in the woods and uh, deep, deep, deep in the heart of Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there was a movie that was called Clock Watchers. She was like working at a shitty job at like a company, and like her boss just kept harping on her about this and that.
I know nothing about her or uh, that, but it was just it bothered me because I started watching it, and then I think my wife started watching it, because she saw I was watching it, and different times, and then the season ended, and I was like waiting for season two, and I think season two came out, and again, of course, cliffhanger, and that was probably 6 7 years ago,
Six,
and
seven.
is it?
Wait, 6 7. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah. Uh, Uh, they're really there's almost like for me there's almost like it seems like we should be entitled to like a class action lawsuit when uh, when companies put out a TV show or a series or something like that, and then they just go, oh, screw you, we're done, we're not going to finish it. Like, so I invested all that time. I want my 2 hours back, man. Remember
careful
that?
medicating
Yeah.
yourself there, Bo.
One day they'll be able to like get, take the unused script that the guy probably already wrote and
Hmm.
turn it into an AI movie.
Bo, you're welcome to join us if you want a distraction from your situation. I know, like 3 weekends in a row, I came here, I had a screaming headache, and as soon as I get on here, I just forget about it, and it goes away.
Mhm.
So you guys are always welcome to come in and chat. But I'm going to keep watching these astrophysics videos and Professor Feynman and some of the other people,
Yeah.
even though they shit all over my aspirations and dreams of sci-fi stuff, because it's actually helping sort of narrow down, what I am going to use and what I'm not going to use in my sci-fi games.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, sorry to hear that, Bo. Because I like in a bunch of games I was in recently, the Warp Gate, the Babylon 5 sort of thing. I can, uh,
hey, Omen.
you have books to finish out a series. I think you're referring to the TV shows that go complete. That would be a bare minimum. Yeah, but when they just, when it's a TV show and you've invested, 10, 12, 18, episodes, hours in, and then
Just tell AI to finish it. Make me like 50 endings to this show, and we'll sit here and pick
I,
the one and then tweak it.
dude, think about when AI can take Firefly and then go, oh, what you want me to create season two? Oh, okay, with or without the movie? Oh, with the movie? Okay, yes, sir.
I wouldn't
And
want it to do
James,
entirely. It's like I feel like things still
you
need
know
to get
not
a
of
touch
what
or
you speak.
approval because they're being made for humans and not robots. So it's like humans get the final approval. Like AI should do like 95 to 99% of the work, and then humans just come in and command it to change some things
Hmm.
or tweak to our own suitabilities, right?
We're
Get
we were
the
talking about
AI
it
kind of-
over on I think Bear's show the other day. It's either going to be a really big boon, or eventually it's going to get priced out of our availability where we can use it.
That's what I think it'll be. It'll
Yeah.
be freely available, so it can like come about. So it'll be popular, and the masses will approve of it. But then it'll get super expensive and be behind price walls, and
Yeah.
it'll have a huge cost to the common person, and mainly be a
Some of
tool for
us.
of the elites. Sorry to get dark on it. That's how I see.
Yeah. It's gonna be like
That's
how
how I'd write it.
YouTube, like the way YouTube like was just we were running it losing money, and now they're like, well, we got to make money on it now, and now they're
Mhm.
like they pay pittance.
Didn't Microsoft just take a huge hit and do something with it? Sora. There's like a bunch of
Hey,
Sora
money being
Sora
lost right
is I
now,
think
billions and billions.
the deal with Disney I guess didn't happen.
That
So
was their
I'm not
Sora.
sure. Yeah, I think Sora is going away,
And
or
it
at least
shouldn't because it looked awesome. It was doing really cool,
yeah,
like it was producing good Star Wars stuff. Like the
yeah.
troopers and all that stuff looked good.
Mhm. James, you're not supposed to dox me, and there's no H in that.
I hate Copilot too. I don't want it on my computer. I've been
Yeah,
uploading all
yeah.
these videos on how to remove it, and I haven't got around to it yet.
I was looking at and seriously contemplating. I forget the name of it. The AI Dungeon Master.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
the ads for that.
but it's like 5e, and I'm
Right.
like, can you make it
Nah.
for Traveler? And we're in there. You make it for Traveler.
Imagine it was a
Uh,
drop down menu of systems. Just like which
oh,
one?
dude, you'd never see me again. You know, I would just plug into the Matrix and it'd be all over. You
AI
know,
images just popping at you, art, maps, and graphics, and sound effects, and all of it. It's like,
and
man, that would
stories,
pull people
history,
in.
intrigue, all that shit that I'm
Especially if you got the
looking
VR
for.
goggles with that experience.
Upload
Yeah,
Gary Gygax's consciousness into the AI to run the best game.
no, no, no.
Whatever voice you
I
want
think
in there, like
I
Sean Connery, GM.
honestly, after all the years that I've been doing this, I think Gary and I would not get along at all. I think he would call me a heretic, and I would punch him in the nose. We just wouldn't get along. He'd be like, "You're doing it wrong." I'm like, "Hey, shut the fuck up. I'm going by your afterword. That's the only thing you wrote that I give two shits about. I'm gonna have that tattooed on my arm right here. Um, the afterword from the Dungeon Master's Guide, and just rule number one. You know,
The rule of cool.
you just have to upload train the AI on the game system.
It's
Oh,
true.
certainly,
Not
certainly.
lying. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about him either way. To be honest, I never sort of followed him or cared. Once he stopped, like when second edition came out, uh, that was about the time I was like delving into every other game but D&D, looking into all the games out there. It's like you know, I mean, I've been playing Traveler, and I played Gamma World and all the TSR games, but at that point it was like, I mean, there's like hundreds of other games out there. I could just go hog wild and just grab all kinds of crap here and there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Any of you guys have interest in that Greyhawk thing coming out?
no, I never really cared about Greyhawk to begin with. Uh, I
Not too much.
I played with Greyhawk. I had the map on my wall, the whole bit, for maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and then it dawned on me I could just make my own Greyhawk, my own world, and from that, and I wasn't even 16 at the time. I never used really anybody else's world except Mutant Chronicles. I did run that game, using the Earth and the solar system and all that. That was like one of the few IPs I ever ran that I would ever run again. I'd play in other IPs, but I love John Carter. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. But I can't think of anything. I got the game. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And then I started reading. I'm like, I got nothing. I've got no idea of what I would, you know, run players through, or what they could do that I would, not get really really bored with really really fast. No matter who it would be just like, yeah, it's only going to go to like a certain level of excitement before you start stepping on the toes of the IP. That being John Carter. You can't be better than John Carter, and John Carter was only so great. You know what I mean? He wasn't Superman. He was awesome. He was a great character, but what he could do and what he could accomplish was had a very low bar. He was never going to cure cancer or fly to Venus. Or go to another dimension, another galaxy. It was it's got this you know low bar, and that's where it's going to stick. And if you're okay with that, you're great.
He
Same thing
could
with like
though. He could though if he decided to do some role playing while he was on Mars.
sure, sure. It's just that
Is that
there's
too far to play a role playing game where you're him and his friends role playing on Mars?
oh
Is what
the
you
one
think?
of the very first TSR games, literally the Warriors of Barsoom, one of the very first games they ever put out. It's like
Mhm.
go for it, play. Here's John Carter's stats. Here's all the other stats. It's like kind of designed to let you play John Carter and do that kind of thing. Um,
No, what I
but
meant though is role playing two levels of magnification in, or two spots removed. So
mhm.
you're role playing a game where you're playing a character that is role playing.
I've actually had some of those instances where like I would throw in a copy of the Dungeon Master's Guide or something like that.
They did that in Fable
Right,
too.
like with Knights of the Old Republic. That's why that Star Wars game we play is so fun, because it is literally so far back in the past that anything could happen. Um, I, I
Mhm.
I I would literally rather spend the weekend at the no escape, no food, no bathroom break, than play Harry Potter. And Avatar: Last Airbender, I watched like one or two episodes of something, and I'm like, this could be okay, but it did. I never went back to it.
See, the funny
Yeah,
thing is,
It's
Omen
just,
put in chat saying players will never meet Conan ever if playing in that world. Where I think, if as a GM, I would basically do a total party kill where Conan comes aboard their boat and kills them all, and I prove them wrong. That's when you put a challenge out like that, Omen. That's how I react to that.
yeah. But then it just seems like you're either, you're getting the more you're as the GM, you're having more fun than they are in that world. If you put like Luke and Vader, I get to play Luke and Vader. You get to play these rebel scum, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, and I've seen people try to do that with dungeon mastering and throw in like really cool characters, and everybody's like, not taking it very well. It's like, well, I wouldn't mind playing Rastalin or some great character, but or Elric. I actually got
It
to
yeah.
play
fits
Elric
certain
once.
stories though, right? Like if you're playing Savage Swords type thing, you kind of expect a bunch of skullduggery and warriors and mercenaries, and it's all just very like melee-ish and all that stuff, right? So when you have that kind of a band of scoundrels, like horrible things can befall the group, and you don't really feel too bad about it, right? And
And in a game like that,
it can
the
be a
party
closer,
literally.
where you meet the character that you're not
And,
supposed to really meet, but he's just there to finish everybody off. That's
and the
pretty
plot
bad.
armor goes away, right?
Yeah.
The party could literally decide, oh, it's Conan, we're gonna kill him. And they could.
Yeah.
Obviously you couldn't do that with Vader because no DM worth of salt would let that slide because it would just trash you.
The trick
You
is to
know,
never announce who it is. It's like two boats smash against each other, in like a night conflict boarding action, and they don't see. It's just to see the flash of steel and such, and maybe one's half alive, and here's the conversation, and it's like, drop Conan.
Yeah. I think that the D6, the Star Wars West End Games D6 books, they recommend like you actually put some of the character not as like players and stuff, but to interact a little bit with them. Like they give you, like Princess Leia gives you the mission or something like that.
Hold on. I want to go back. I'm a cabbage merchant. Okay. I want to bring this comment up. Um, I despise this mentality. Um, I hate having NPCs that are more important than to the game than the players. Literally everybody is more important until you deserve to be more important. If you start out as a zero level nobody or a first level, kid, then the whole world is more important than you till you prove yourself. You have to prove yourself and earn the right to be more important than the mayor of the town or the famous knight who happens to walk through your town. We're nobodies right now. Us here, we're unless you got secret identities we don't know about. We're nobodies in the greater scheme of things. There's a whole bunch of people in the real world that are way more important than us. Not to us, but to the rest of the world. We have to earn the right to be famous or powerful or even rich or whatever, unless you're just born into money like me. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. Oh, here comes Mr. Bill's dog. I mean Owen.
No. You misunderstood what I said. My actual comment is that the NPCs are more important to the game than the players. Not that they aren't more important in the world. There's a big difference between the two. Because it's about the players, not about the
semantics.
It's not.
You still have to earn that right.
No, because the game is about the players. I don't care what it is. If you come into my house, I don't care if you're president of the United States. The people in the house are more important than the president of the U.S. in the house. Again, it's not in the world. We're not saying. So you're confusing the world with the game.
The same thing to me.
No, they're not. Because my point on this is, unless I'm trying to play a massive multiplayer online game, that if we're playing with a group of players, everything revolves around the players, not the rest of the world. No, the rest of the world will impact the players, but the story is about the players, not about and their choices, not the world.
The players and their interactions create the story.
Yeah,
eventually, but
looking back at
no. I'm saying even at zero level,
right?
At zero level, if I could, like Indiana Jones, we all watch Indiana Jones. He's not more important than Hitler or Stalin or anything else, but we're not watching him for those. We're watching him for Indiana Jones.
In his story, he's the most important character.
That's my point.
Yeah. Sure, but that's not the same thing. Equating a movie to an RPG in some cases works, but Indiana Jones has this thing called plot armor that no player's walking into my game with.
I understand that, but it's still about the players and their characters, not about the rest of the world.
If they survive, then yes.
It doesn't even matter if they survive. Even if you guys die, like in your Alien game, it's okay if you die because you're still more important to the story and the game than all the other stuff around you. That's my point.
In as much as the social contract applies, yes, but
no. If I'm ever playing a game, and I have been in games where I basically sat back and the NPCs ran everything, and we just twiddled our thumbs. That's wrong. That is my point. It doesn't matter if the NPCs are more important to the world. We're not arguing. So the problem is you're confusing the two. When we're playing a game, I'm doing a small subset of the world, and those characters are the most important thing to that subset for the game. Now, if they all die off, that's their story. That's their story. I'm not trying to do all the other, stuff. Now, you're right.
Take care, bro. I hope you feel better.
If you're saying the world, yeah, the players are not the most important people in the world, but they're the most important people in the story. It's the same thing with Firefly. They are not the most important people in their world until much later on. They're the most important people in their story, though. because people are watching. They're doing it for their story. They don't care about the world building goes on around them, but that's not about them.
So sometimes in a good RPG or even in a crappy one, you have to have a setup. You have to have show them and introduce them to the world around, and you have to put them in their place. Uh,
But it's
for
still
that.
about their story. It's not about
Of
the
course,
rest.
of course. Once they,
Yeah.
like once they're in the dungeon or they're out in the woods, you're not constantly going back to the town and talking about King freaking Humperdinck and what the hell he's doing. Okay, but the camera is going to focus on them when it's germane to the situation. But occasionally you will move that camera focus to other people besides them. Otherwise, uh, there is no verisimilitude. The whole it's just catering to their whims, and it's all about them, and it leads to me for me as a GM to a point of feeling like. I am just the I'm a servant of them.
Okay, I don't think you, but you're missing my. But I think we're having two different discussions here,
We
which
could
is the
be
point. Which is
a long day.
for the game, when we're playing the game, the characters are the most important things for the game. But when you're talking about your world, your players are not the most important people in the world. Those are two very different things. But we're not focusing on, like you said, King Humperdinck and all of those. Yes,
Right.
they
King
they will
Humperdinck.
impact the characters.
Humperdinck.
Yeah, but they will impact the
Pumpernickel.
characters.
That's a great
But
word,
that
right?
does not mean that they're more important than for the story, that they're not. If your characters all die off, then and you say, hey, we're gonna play a different game, then whatever happens is gone.
Mhm.
Unless I'm gonna try to be unless I'm trying to write
course.
fiction and make a story. But that's not the whole point. Whenever we're playing together, we're all creating a story together.
Yep.
And I am throwing, situations in the world. But that's why I said, and I'm going to go for classical literature, where everyone's like, "Oh, Vader has to be the toughest Jedi ever." I said, "No, I'd make him weak. I would have gotten rid of the prequels and said, guess what? Vader was a weak ass Jedi who came in too late, and because he was jealous and he was put down, that's why he turned against the Jedi. That is a classical story. That is why he would have turned to the dark side, and then said, "Oh, okay, just because you're the coolest looking." I mean, let's be honest. Boba Fett knocked out by a blind man. I mean, come on,
Have you guys seen that?
You know why that happened, right? Because he became so popular to the point of being almost more popular than the people who were supposed to be popular.
The advertising campaign around his iconic face and everything.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. My whole point for all of it is that everyone wants to say, oh, well, that just because someone looks cool doesn't mean I have to make him the best or whatever. That's the
Whoa. There is a case where that is always the case.
Did you guys ever see what the actor looked like that played the body of Boba Fett? Like, was in the costume?
Yeah. Big thick glasses.
Yeah, I think somebody
Mr.
posted
Beanish.
it. Yeah, somebody looked like somebody said he looks like my my 8th grade math teacher or something like that.
The other part is then, and this is what I hate about the prequels. Oh, I'm just gonna have to make sure that they're all tied in and neatly wrapped. But you don't have to. You just have to do certain things. But that's the problem I have is now. Well, the character is so cool. I got to keep him in there for everything. And I went, well, I'm sorry. He's just not as good as you think he is. I actually liked some of the other. I still liked IG-88, even though he was in there for 5 seconds in the entire movie.
Oh yeah, we had this discussion. The entire idea of a bounty hunter robot that is at least on the outside appearance level autonomous. That he's a free roaming bounty hunter. That's a machine. Who built him? Where does the money go that the bounty hunter gets when he brings in a bounty? When IG-88 knocks your ass out, hog ties you and drags you off to the authority and holds out his hand for credits, where does that money go? What, just a freaking 3-in-1 oil and spare parts?
Well, a lot of the problem with the literature is that they decided to give backstories to every minor little character and give this like big, you know. It was like the guy who got his arm cut off. Well, now we have to get a whole story on this one.
In the case of IG-88, it went to Death Star maintenance. Yeah. Eventually, he was in the Death Star.
Was he? Well, no, he was in the.
You read the Tales of the Bounty Hunters?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
He eventually gets uploaded into the Death Star's computer, but gets destroyed before he can really start playing around.
But see, that's what I said. Is that the whole thing is again, I don't know, but I agree with you. The players are not the most important people in the world, but they're the most important people in the game, which are two different things. Now, if you're playing in a, even if you're playing in a, what is a West Marches style, well, okay, but the party is the most. But the party's what we all care about. What happens to the party? Don't really care.
I'm just saying, like you get into a game like Savage Swords, which is kind of more meant to be brutal, fast, short. It's like you can go out in those blazes of glory, and you look forward to the glorious TPK.
This is the only case where I agree with you.
For what? Well, no. I mean,
this is literally the only time.
This is the problem is that DMs get too wed to their characters, and they don't know when to kill them off. Like you gotta let your villains die, gotta let your players come in.
Of course, and they shouldn't be, they shouldn't be getting more screen time. But the idea that they're more important can give them or lead way to that mentality of, DM, I don't want my character to die.
Yes, but see, here's the problem. But here's the problem that I have with, we're talking about the whole thing. It's not just that. The problem that I have with this, and I think it's funny, and I was looking up, and it's true, is that players care more about their characters than their characters would about themselves. If you actually look at like history, is hey, we're going to die in a glorious battle, and we're going to go fight. In the meantime, they're like, I'm running away. I'm doing this. You're not the there are not enough TPKs in games, is my point.
No, I agree. I agree.
And that's exactly what I was reading some of. But
I think it's okay to have your characters caught up in events greater than themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Rogue One is a recently good TPK movie.
Yeah.
And it went off well. It's like they accomplished their mission, gave the big fingers 11 to the Empire, and boom.
I'm more of a fan of Reservoir Dogs for a TPK film.
It's another form. It's another form.
Or Blake 7 was a good one.
Horror movies have tons of TPK, so that's an easy genre to do the TPK.
It was left open.
As we're doing an Alien currently.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if it's going to be complete total party kill, but it will definitely have but it will probably have 200 to 300% casualty rates. But to be fair, that's the part where I expect characters not to die in a blaze of glory. But if we were talking about D&D or stuff like that, the expectation is that, especially if you're looking at where the gods literally physically manifest themselves all around you frequently, and you see the actual miracles of your gods, and you're like, well, I'm afraid I might die. It's like, no, you're going to whichever afterlife that you seek.
Yeah, you'd be happy.
Like welcoming it.
No more suffering and droughts and ambushes and weird diseases, or life drains from the ghost that lives under my bed.
That's fine if you're playing one of the good aligned characters, but there's like this dividing line at neutralities where your neutral chaotic neutral character may not be in any fucking hurry to get to the happy hunting grounds or wherever the hell they go, because it may suck.
Well,
it may not quite be hell, but it may suck. Imagine you're lawful neutral, and I don't know about you, but going to the place with the monodromes and all those other weirdos, I don't want to go there. First off, I'm never going to run a lawful neutral, but I don't want to go to that place. I'd rather literally go to one of the hells than that friggin' place.
Flying around.
But see, this is where we talk about law and chaos. Law is, hey, this is perfect. There's no chaos. I know exactly what's going to go on. It's everything works perfectly. There's, in the meantime, a chaos would be like, that is the worst thing in the entire world, where there is no choice, no freedoms, and but again, this is why when I mention alignment, and I think sometimes we forget about these things. You're picking a side in a celestial battle.
It's true.
Well, that's why they had originally, it was just lawful, neutral, and chaotic.
But that didn't make any sense to me.
Yes, but it does make sense to you. Yet I've been looking through a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of law versus chaos in a lot of stories and everything else. Whether it's the Warlords and the Shadows,
to me, even though I like to think of myself as a good person, law doesn't, to me, always equate to goodness.
I didn't say it did. I didn't say it did.
But it usually, when I was reading the definitions in various games, including, I think, BX, lawful was the closest to goodness out of the three.
It was more about order and not morality. When you go law, neutrality, chaos, that's about the order of function.
Yeah, and they also
like that evil, neutrality, good.
One of the things I'm a big fan of my own personal freedom.
Sorry.
But that's.
I'm just saying there's a difference there to parse out.
Yeah, one of the things with the Moorcock universe is this idea that law works for a while, and then it gets entrenched and hardens, and then you need chaos to kind of come in and break it, and then chaos becomes chaotic. It gets out of control, and then law has to come in and.
Well, see, the problem is that Shadow stopped only at book 2 of the compilation and didn't read book 3. In book 3, Elric starts fighting law because law is considered bad.
I read up to Stormbringer.
Yes, there's a whole series after that. That's when he goes into the anti-law part.
Right. Was that written by Moorcock?
Yes.
I'd have to go and check on his political affiliations before I read any more of his stuff. Just saying, because he seemed like kind of a weirdo that might have gotten weirder, if you know what I mean.
You can say whatever you want, but I mean, when you start looking at this stuff, well, you can't quite see the book there, but there you go. There's the book, the Elric Saga Volume 3, and I have that on audiobook, and he's talking a lot about, and I'm not knocking it, but he's equating, he's basically, when either side gets excessive, that's when it becomes evil.
Well, he delving a little bit deeper into that, I read Stormbringer the first time, because I read the Elric Saga twice, actually 3 times. The first time I read it was probably late 70s, early like 81 tops.
Yeah.
And it ended. Has everybody here read Stormbringer?
Nope.
Yeah.
Basically, his sword kills him. And
Elric and his sword kill every living thing in the world, to the point where the entire universe is just a blank white void. Okay? It's just Elric and his sword. He even killed his own bestest buddy, who basically sacrificed himself just so Elric could live a few more minutes, which to me was just freaking weird. Okay? And then...
Go ahead.
And then the sword just says, "Okay, well, thanks for all the fish, Elric," and kills Elric, and says, "Farewell, my friend. I was 1,000 times more evil than thou." That was a great ending. I was like, "Oh my god!" Not expecting it as a kid, and it was over. And it was over. I'm wondering, hey, Janet. Long time no see. Not really. I just saw you this morning. I wonder how long between the book Stormbringer was written and how many years passed before the very next book, Omen.
when the money ran out and he had to feed himself.
It's kind of my point.
Well. So you have to remember, the big thing is that they always mention the multiverse, and so there were multiple Erlics, and there were a lot of different things. But anyway, it actually comes over where apparently in one of the other universes, an Elric spiritual shard goes off, and what's in. Not that I really enjoy it, to be fair, but he goes over, and there were some things that he laid out well before. So I really don't care. People get jealous. I don't. You know what? I don't care about all the stuff they do behind the scenes. Write good books and just I don't care about your personal life.
I can't do that anymore, Omen. I literally can't. I wish I could just go ahead and read all the books Epstein wrote and not cared. But if I find out there were son of a bitch in the real world, I'm done with their books.
Well, no. I mean the drama crap. Well, so and so badmouth so and so. I'm like, I don't fucking care about that. That's different. No.
It's part of the same thing. I see why James said it. And if you're like, if you prefer or a big fan of Tolkien, and then you find out somebody who came later started trash talking him, whether it was true or not, I could see where you're going to have feelings and opinions. We can't help that.
Yeah, but everyone does that. I don't really care about the literary, sniping behind the scenes, which is so petty anyway.
Everybody's going to take a side eventually. It's just like Law and Chaos, And Tolkien seemed like he was on the side of law, and Moorcock was on the side of chaos. So that's just his version of, choosing one of the. His alignment.
Tolkien didn't like Dune. Tolkien didn't like Dune. I'm like, well, okay, look, at the end of the day,
it's okay. Yeah. You can like
one more point for Tolkien.
I think what was what Shadow's talking about is more like the kind of person he was. Like, and I'm getting a little weird about like Herbert. Herbert's I think even a very flawed person can tie into something real and useful in the world. So I'm not going to not read Herbert, but he was a horrible father. He would put his kids in lie detector tests and stuff and beat them, and it was
literally. Marion Zimmer Bradley, another great example. When I was young, I hung out with these people, and they loved Marion Zimmer Bradley's Darkover books. I read a bunch of them. I played the Darkover game, all this crap, and then I just forgot about it because I moved away, whatever. And then I found out about her, and it just freaking trashed all those memories because there was a lot of like lesbian stuff in her books. And as a youngster, it was kind of, made me feel things, it's kind of a little risque. It's just to say that. And then I find out that, she got that idea from the shit she was doing to her fucking daughter. I'm out. I am fucking out.
Creep styles.
Right. And those are obviously some serious extremes, but
what I meant is that unless you can show the person is like a Polanski kind of person,
exactly, James.
I was just thinking Rosemary's Baby and Polanski.
Just a perfect example. If you found out I was putting my kid through a lie detector test on a regular basis, would you still hang out with me?
I put my son through a lie detector test like every couple of days.
Oh, yeah, but he was like, and he also beat the crap out of them, like really.
Yeah, technically, you're supposed to be your kid's best lie detector test. When you say, "What were you up to?" or "What were you doing?" you're supposed to be able to figure that out.
There's a difference between, being a father and being able to tell when my boy is lying.
If you're a real father, you don't need to put a machine to your son to tell.
Right, but when you start strapping on the Velcro and putting the patches and electrodes, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Dominance. I think it's like almost like he knows that he's lying, but then like I'm going to pull out the lie detector, like kind of thing.
Well, what's funny is that then, one is the kid probably learns how to lie really well at that point, but then it's like, well, wait a minute. I'm just going to do what they did in the Ghost Special at the beginning every time they got the answer wrong and shock them.
So
it's damaging to the psyche that he wouldn't trust him to say that, like, no, you wouldn't tell the truth. I have to use this machine. It's damaging psychological.
Yes and no. I mean, if like my wallet shows up empty and there was $1,000 in there, and he's the only person in the house, and I say, "Hey, did you take my money?" He says no. I might break out the electrodes, and Janet, let's get a female perspective. Lie detector on your kids, yay or nay? Is that over the line?
Well,
Or do you
what
just
gets
have
me
that
about
bit
that
of
is
intuition and
just
you just know?
it's just how intricate that is. Whereas I just look at my son and he says, "I think it's creepy that you know what I'm thinking." I'm like, "That's because you're not that different of how I was when I was your age." Like,
Yeah,
that some of it is just like you should be reading their facial expressions.
that's all it is. That's all it
Yeah.
is. From raising them, from
Yes.
0 to late teens, bare minimum.
They're not poker
Um,
masters, right? They're teenagers, and
Yeah,
right.
they always come
if
up
you
with something
can't
that
get
makes sense.
reads off them, then there's either like some underlying issue where they don't show facial feature, which there is in some cases, or then you've probably done a bad job because they're a bit of a psycho and they're that good of a liar.
Or maybe they're getting too much practice.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Like,
I mean, at the end of the
one of
day, it's
three
like,
there, I think.
how much do I really care about? Just where did the cookies go? I don't know. Really, come here.
Yeah.
Why are you lying about stuff that doesn't really matter? I much prefer I ate the cookies. I told myself, if you're gonna eat all, leave me some cookies. I don't mind if you eat half
Oh
the
my
cookies,
god, my
but
boy is the
don't
worst
eat them
about that
all.
shit. The worst is like, I'm autistic. We're all autistic, James. Welcome to the club. I should have named the morning show the Autistic Club or something like that. My boy, he'll find like my secret stash, and he'll freaking devour it all, and then leave a Polaroid with him eating it.
Oh, actually,
Oh wow.
I would
No, I'm
actually find
kidding.
that funnier.
You don't have a Polaroid camera. That's stolen from Family Guy, where Lois put in Meg's lunch bag a picture of herself eating Meg's lunch, and there's a Polaroid of the mom just like it's like fucking evil. I mean, that's
I
evil.
know.
Um,
Poor Meg. I mean,
I think
just on
Janet
looking.
already left. She's like, "Fuck these guys."
No. I some
Probably.
of the things. It's like I told my son, okay, you have to leave me at least 2 cookies. So I come back and they're
Two, it's
just 2
4,
cookies.
man. The minimum. I mean, it's supposed to be a sleeve as a serving, but 4. It's like 4.
Yeah, she
Well,
left. Just
it was usually like, hey, give me enough that it's decent for me to eat, and I usually say leave me at least 2 cookies because I will eat a whole sleeve. And I don't feel good for eating a whole sleeve, so you're kind of saving me for myself, But don't eat everything all at once either. We're limited to 2 cookies a day, okay?
Or he'll do the same thing with the bag of Doritos. He'll leave like 4 tiny little crumbs left in the bag. I was like, just fucking finish it. He gets that from his mom and grandma.
put the trash away and recycle it.
They'll go into the box. We'll get like a dozen donuts, right? They'll go in there and they'll take a bite or 2 of a donut and put it back in the box.
I'd ambush.
Why don't they just cut the donut in half or quarters?
Like that around me, I'd ambush the food. I'd do stuff to the food. Like I'd make it. It'd be funny. Like it wouldn't be poison or anything like that, but it'd be funny. Like I'd just go in, put hairs on all the food. Be like, there you go, have first donut. You're gonna be rude.
Well, see.
Well, no, it's just the idea of take the donut out of the box.
People back to
Don't tease me. Don't tease me with the chocolate donut that I was going to eat, but then I go in there and it's got 2 bite marks in it. And I'm like,
that's rude as hell, man.
Well, why won't they just cut the donut in half?
You shouldn't even put the donut with your mouth germs back in the effing box. Like that, contaminates the other donuts. First off,
with cooties, and there's nothing worse than girl cooties, because this is the no ma'am men's club, I guess.
Yeah,
like I've been bit by people before. You have to get shots when you get bit by people. When you actually get bit, they break skin and everything. Like the human mouth has a lot of bad germs.
Oh yeah, we're like freaking Gila monsters.
Yeah.
Like the other one is if you're gonna do stuff like that. Like I had one person say, "Well, why did you cut the donut in half?" I'm like, because I didn't want the whole donut, but I'm not gonna just ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, cut it in half is classy.
Yeah,
very classy. Yeah.
The same thing with I have a friend of mine who's diabetic, and so he's always worried about getting his blood sugar up too high. But a lot of times he's like, well, I'm going to get a cinnamon roll. Here, eat half of it. I'm like, okay, that sounds fair to me. It's one time he got mad at like cookies. Like, I don't know which one's bigger because you want to take the smaller half. And I was like, yeah, that's because I broke it exactly in half.
I'm not sure what that means, James L. Have it quite clean freak flip out over here. My house is a disaster. I would love to invite you over, but you'd be like, you just start cleaning. I know you. You just start breaking out the friggin' Windex and shit.
Back when I was dating, I cleaned the house, but I haven't been dating in a long time, so.
Cleaning.
Dude, I've seen your place. It's probably still tidy.
No, it's a disaster. Well, the problem is I still am collecting too much junk, and I need to get a good burn barrel and just get rid of.
Yeah, I'm starting to. I actually watched this video. I think it was this morning. Oh, don't nibble my snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been watching like these habits of very successful people videos, in addition to the other stuff. I'm trying to watch like, more educational stuff than before. Just watching the latest D&D videos. Sure, it's educational to a point, but it can only take that so far. Speaking of which, oh god, I was so pissed off. I wanted to freak out or flip out or say something snotty. I'm in Walmart this morning getting groceries, and I see this guy. He's got a Player's Handbook T-shirt, right? And I'm like, no freaking way. Hey man, cool shirt. He's like, oh thanks man. I bought it for my sister, but she didn't want it. And that was it. That was the conversation. He wasn't even a player. He didn't have any freaking clue. You know what I mean?
I had an Old School Essentials T-shirt, and the guy at HEB stopped me. Said, "Hey, man!" So we were talking about stuff, and but he was a cool guy. But he was running games at a bar, and there was just too much loud music, and I'm like, it just distracted me too much to go out there. It's like, and on a weekday too, I'm like, I can't do that. But no, I'm. The whole point of these things is just like you were talking about with John Carter and Conan. My whole thing is that I may start you where Conan stories would begin, but Conan never exists in my world. And it's like, okay, that way Conan's not the dominant figure in my world. You guys will eventually.
That's kind of like false advertising, in my opinion.
Not really. You're playing in the Conan world, but I'm not letting you play Conan. You're not meeting Conan.
Well, no, okay. But I if I was gonna play in a Conan like game like that, I might actually enjoy meeting Conan. I might not. You know what I mean? Having the opportunity to meet like somebody famous from the IP that you're running, it can go kind of one of two ways for the most part. Really poorly, or it can be kind of cool. You had a couple of drinks with Conan, you never saw him again. Yeah, that's cool. That's bragging rights material.
Well, the problem that I have is that most of these characters dominate their world so much that it kind of players kind of feel that they are, how do I want to say this? They're observers in a game that rather than the movers and shakers they should be.
Sure.
And,
in our Star Wars game, I'm tempted to kind of have you guys interact with maybe Revan eventually, but like somebody.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Again, like.
But it depends on where you guys go. It's sort of like right now, you guys are kind of going where nobody's been for 40 years. So.
Well, and that's to me the way it should be.
Or like I forget which one of you said it. Like you bump into you maybe even get a mission from somebody famous, and then you don't find out that that's who it was until later. That way, you act completely like you would, and you're not all starstruck, and you're not metagaming it. It's like, oh, it's Conan. Quick, where's my poison? You don't want to fucking poison his drink. Something stupid like that. I've seen crap like that, and you're like, oh no way, that was freaking Leia. Oh my god, that was Princess fucking Leia. No way. Something like that would be way cooler and classier to pull that off.
Or the universe is so big you don't interact with them. Like with Star Wars, like I said, Star Wars is so big. You can be having the rebellion on one side of the galaxy, and you're on the complete other side, and it doesn't.
Sure,
but rumors in the background.
There comes a point. There comes a point with that that you're not playing Star Wars because you've taken too much of Star Wars out of a Star Wars game?
How am I taking it out?
How does it feel like Star Wars?
Same universe, same everything
How
else.
does it?
You're just
How
not
do I know?
okay. Well, how is it Earth if you're over in South America while everyone
No, I
else
mean,
is fighting a war in
if all
Europe?
you have are like the trappings, the hardware, let's say, or
Okay.
maybe a couple of the races, you've got to include enough of the franchise material, because I could run a Star Wars game and you wouldn't know it. You see what I'm saying?
What's wrong with that?
Well, if I'm signing up for a Star Wars game, it's different than if I'm signing up for a Traveler game.
My view on all of this is, how is it any different than if you're gonna? If I said, guess what, guys, you're gonna be playing during World War II, like, yay! Like, okay, now I'm putting you in South America. You're like, okay,
Are
it's
there
the
any
same
lightsabers?
world. It's the
Are there
same
any
world.
lightsabers in South America?
That's not a Star Wars game. Is my point. If I'm saying, my point is that if I put you on the edge of a galaxy, you can hear about stuff going on way far away. That's like months away, but it's not affecting you directly. And
My point.
that's
My
my whole
point is,
point.
it's like this. If I'm going to play in a Star Wars game, 99 times out of 100, I'm going to want to be a Jedi or a Sith.
Okay, so you're way off in the very outer edge where they have limited.
But if I'm in a Traveler game, I'm not
Yes.
even thinking about either of those two things.
Well, if you're doing
I'm
a
thinking of
traveler,
completely different kind of characters.
yeah, but if you're doing a traveler game, but again, my point is that I can put you so far off in the galaxy that you aren't interacting with any of the main characters anyway. You might
Mhm.
be hearing news about it, but most players are not going to spend, let's assume it's a month and a half or 2 months to get over towards like where they're fighting the rebellion. It's the same thing that, if you're in the Congo. Oh, look, here's what's going on in World War One. Yeah, will it affect
Sure.
you? Sort of, but it's not the same. You hear more of the news. Well, the perfect example is Shackleton. No one really heard that much about
Thanks, James.
Shackleton because that was during World War One. He was trying to go off to Antarctica. In the meantime, World War One's raging, and
Yeah.
it's,
Hey, you
it's
know
not
what's
that we.
crazy is the old globes. I just watched a video on this the other night. The old globes have like a ring around them that like shows how the snow is supposed to look. Like it actually shows a friggin' ice wall
Oh,
on old
interesting.
maps. Like
Mhm.
if you look at the old ones, it doesn't
Some of
have
them, yeah.
where it's at the bottom. It just shows it like you're looking at the map of the world from the pole downwards,
Yeah.
kind of thing, and then it shows like around it the
Yeah,
ice
because
wall.
no,
You're not going to come out as a flat earther, are you?
No, but I'm just saying it come up as like a short the other night. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, part of it
the-
is it was unexplored, truly unexplored. We forget like 100 years ago.
And I would check that those maps, and see if they're in a time frame of like the little ice age, or if they were the person who made the map might have spent any time near where there would be icebergs floating in the water that made them turn back.
They showed two of them. There's two maps from two different times, and the
Yeah.
earliest map was one where it was also kind of thawed, and it showed land mass that rung
Yeah.
all the way around and had like geographical features and things on there. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
was
you have
the
to
older one.
remember, I don't think that they even discovered Antarctica until like the 1870s or something. It's not, but that's my whole
Agartha?
point is that you can be in a world or stuff like that, and you can hear news, but you can be so far off that it doesn't impact
I
your
hit the
game at
thumbs
all.
up. Who's not hitting the thumbs up?
So
James is asking we're not hitting a thumbs up on the stream.
That means I've got like 2 thumbs up, and we've been on almost 2 hours, and had 12, 15 viewers at one point. They all just skedaddled.
Without hitting a thumbs up.
Sometimes those numbers change after the show or go up and down. I've seen weird things with this channel.
Refresh. I'm number 3 when I clicked.
we used to do a show with Jackie and Bear and the conspiracy theory iceberg show,
I refreshed
and
before.
and we would watch literally the views disappear by 20s up to 100 views would disappear 24 hours after the show was up,
Why is that?
because it was called the conspiracy theory iceberg show.
It could also be because a
what
lot
I
of them are
mean.
bots, and when they remove the bot, they remove the view with it too.
Yeah, but that was the only show it ever happened for.
I don't know. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of stuff that the views seem to bounce back and forth. And what was they said like 80% of all interactions are bots. It's something
Yeah.
really high it's.
I can't picture why bots would be coming to my channel.
Is it more like you hit a bunch of flags, so you got like Five Eyes dorks sitting in basements all over the freaking
Well,
place, logged in watching
that
it?
particular show was
They're
about
recording
every one of the theories, starting from the weakest to the really deep, darkest ones. And some of those topics are a little controversial.
Because I think
We
they
would
probably
stay
have
away from
users.
certain
They probably have
things.
They probably have bot users that connect up, like intelligence agencies connect up, download it, and AI parses through the entire thing for certain mentions or like
But it was
projects or
really
whatever.
disheartening for Jack. We would end the
Clean the
show,
trail.
we'd end the show and there'd be like 287 views, and then the next day there'd be like 107.
I don't know. All I'm saying is that a lot of it
It's
is
fucked
they were
up.
talking
It's
about
his show.
Surprised me.
bots from just AI farms. Well, not AI farms, but a lot of stuff overseas. Like Indians did a lot for bots. If you hear a lot of people
Yeah,
talk about
I'd like to
followers,
have an
how in the
insular
world
internet
do
in
you
a
have
way.
a million
Like,
followers and
I'm sick of
10
East
comments?
Indians like bot spamming you and doing all these scams. So why don't we just lock off our internet and firewall things? So it's like, you know, third world doesn't get to connect to our internet. Do your
Elon
own
Musk,
internet.
well, because again, a lot of people were falsifying ad views. Well, I know Facebook was doing it. A lot of them wanted that so then they could charge more money to advertisers.
Well, people are looking at the theory of like creating a new internet network and closing it off, gatekeeping it.
Yeah, but the question is why? Are you
Communications,
really?
all
Is it
communication.
good or bad to do that? Is the real question. I know that Elon Musk was talking about where you could block it off to certain sections, or it's not even that I really care if people are watching it, but it's like, could you also say, would you really want to say, oh well, Canada can't watch anything in the U.S. and Britain can't watch anything from France, or
You have to declare who your allies are and basically like camp up, and you'd have to basically share information across those, kind of like how they already have with Five Eyes and all these agreements that they have.
Yeah, but I am more worried about
Nigeria isn't in Five Eyes. Like countries that do all the huge scamming operations aren't in the Five Eyes.
Well, then to me, what they should do is flag where you're getting someone from more than anything else. Just let me know where they're from rather than anything else.
That'd be a good idea. Like check their IPs and do a whole thing where it's like it slows down their ping because they're being checked.
Well, but that
so
technically YouTube already does that. YouTube tells you
infrastructure would do that. If they're coming from a back, water of the world, infrastructure would slow them down. Wouldn't even have to be throttled.
But my whole thing really is that I think that we're trying to read too much into it. But are you an actual person is very different than, sometimes I notice that, people just say bot. And you're like, wait a minute, I think this person's a bot. Which comes down to like if you start commenting back and forth with people on comments and realizing that you're actually commenting with an AI. That's what I'm more concerned with. It's
coming. It's coming.
Well, so you guys are more worried about views. I really don't care. It's like, look, if someone's going to watch it, am I interacting with a real human being? That's all I really care about.
I just cut myself off from the technology more often. Like I live out in the sticks. Like, I can unplug from it all very easily.
Must be nice.
Well, I'm more worried about them forcing us to be unplugged. That's what I'm more concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
I just heard that, what was that? Because several countries, whether it's China or Iran or Russia, they literally cut it off. And now Europe's talking about trying to do that, so does Canada, where they don't want anyone from outside commenting. It's like, wait a minute. The whole point of the Western world was a free flow of information back and forth.
Speaker's corner too. like that whole tradition of Speaker's Corner kind of thing, shared amongst the Commonwealth and former Commonwealth nations.
Well, I don't know if you were familiar, but after the the Protestant Reformation, the Germany required all people with printing presses to be licensed so they could determine who was printing stuff off. It's like, I don't need that from my government.
No.
That's probably what we're going to get then.
Well, the again, the whole thing comes down to is, which I do like for the quote, which is, if you cut out a Mayan's tongue, it's, you're more worried about what he's going to say rather than, do you have a good argument? But and which is what you see a lot of times. There's one guy I listen to, which he has some of the worst takes for things, but he's really good for identifying, cyber threats and things like that. But he immediately smears people first rather than trying to actually just refute their argument. Well, so-and-so went to jail. I went, yes, he went to jail for literally exposing the illegality by the government. That's...
Yeah.
I said, that's not a good take. Oh, well, so-and-so is this. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Should we be talking about freedom of speech if we're trying to protect the United States? That's the problem I have with it is, oh, well, we have to be all in lockstep with government. Nothing good comes from that because it doesn't allow you to fix things. But anyway, that's the whole point of why we play Firefly and Traveler. It's like, yes, you're not the most important people in the world, but you're the most important people in my game. But I'll let you die. Because
there are certain games and certain situations and scenarios where the heightened death suits it.
Oh yeah,
like it really is a case by case or system by system or scenario by scenario thing.
Well, it just depends on how you're looking at it. Which I know I was playing. Well, it's a board game, but it kind of has RPG elements. When I play Kingdom Monster Death, it's about the settlement, not about the individual characters. Even though you get really attached to the individual characters, you're like, well, okay, that's not quite it.
Yeah, that I'm not surprised you like bought into that whole thing. That's massive, dude. That is like, that could literally be your only game. It's so massive. You know what I mean? I know there's probably people out there that's like the only game they play, and they're totally cool with it because it's more than enough to keep them freaking busy painting and playing. I looked into that. And I'm like, that's like Shadows of Brimstone kind of big.
If I won the lottery, I would probably send all of them off, and someone would magnetize all my miniatures and then paint them up, and then have them shipped back. And I was talking to Brian, and he was saying, weird World War II gaming. He said some of the guys he plays with, they literally tell like the whole armies they want, they in colors and all the other schemes to it, ship them off overseas, have them paint the entire army, and then have them shipped back so they can play with them. I was like, well, that's cool.
Yeah, our good friend Fritz from GM's Alcove, I forget what he changed.
Yeah.
Forge and Brush now. He used to have a business where he would paint people's armies and stuff like that for them, and looking forward to him coming back to the old internet. But I can only imagine how crazy that actually, the amount of money that would actually cost to send any army, how much it would cost, and the whole time, like I'm the kind of person that would be freaking, getting an anxiety attack almost, worried about it getting there safe, getting painted well, and then coming back to me at all. You know what I mean?
Well, all you have to do is get one good person that does it, and after that, you keep using that same person. There's this. This is what always gets me about artists is artists don't treat their work as a job, and then they wonder why they're being replaced by AI. I'm like, look, I'm all for human artists. I understand costs and things, but at the end of the day, you still have budgets and schedules that you have to maintain, and you have to get something that the customer's asking for. And too many of them don't treat it like a job.
You're going to have to wait till you die for your art to be worth anything if you're going to be like that. You have to, like you said, treat it like a job. You have to be reliable. That is the key word when dealing with an artist. If they are not reliable to cough up what they agreed to, they're the kind of people that give other artists a bad name. If all artists throughout history could have been more reliable, we wouldn't look at them the way we do, I think.
Well, this is why you get someone like Larry Elmore or Frank Frazetta and some of these others is, hey, we need a book cover by such and such date. And I know that Boris Vallejo got his start actually doing artwork. Like, it had a 24-hour turnaround. He had to do it for like supermarkets. You have to like draw this. And so
commercial artist.
You have to like, and people don't treat it like that. They treat it like a hobby. And then they say, well, I didn't feel like doing it today, or I didn't feel like doing that. The same thing happens with writing. When they talk about professional writers, they said you write every day. Even if you have nothing else to write at least 1 or 2 pages a day.
It tends to be the ones that go to art school are the laziest ones. The ones that actually work their way into art tend to be the more productive ones, is how it skews.
I don't know. It's one of these things that
I've kind of looked at artists. I've been around artists, and like I've found that generally, it's like the ones who basically go to school and everything. They're kind of doing their life and like, oh, this is due whenever it's down here, and they can procrastinate, fool and fart around, and that kind of follows them into their professional life. You find a lot of the people who get into it because they love it. They're just constantly doing it. And they want to crank it out, and they're just like, oh, the stuff I crank out that I love, I can sell. Great. And they're the ones that get a ton of work. And like, there's so many artists out there that are like the workhorses of the industry, basically.
What do you mean by this tropey way? I'm saying, I'm literally being honest, is the people who get jobs for its professional artists treat it like a job. They have, Larry Elmore used to put out what? Look at the sheer number of things he did for Dragon Magazine and everything else. I mean, he was putting one out for doing a painting, and for as good as they were, that's pretty amazing. But that's someone that actually, I was like, cool. He did a lot of that. But the problem I see with too many of them is I see too many that don't do that. They're just like, I'm bipolar. I can't do this. Oh, this happened to me. I'm like, yeah, but if you worked a 40-hour, you should be doing artwork for like 40 hours a week if you're going to be treating it like a job.
Easley just did that new cover for the Greyhawk piece there, that 5.5 edition thing or whatever. The best thing about it is the Easley cover. But I won't buy it for that. But
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
It looks like a dark elf with like some kind of displacer cloak and a saber over top of a critter. And I'm like, but he's still putting in work.
I have always thought of art as like, it's never your day job till it's your day job. You should be working a real regular job, and when you start making enough money, then you're there. But until then, it's like, don't starve, and don't quit your day job until you can quit your day job. That's it.
Well, that's what I say. Like Boris Vallejo, who has done a lot of stuff, and he still does commissions even in his 80s.
James, I recently tried buying some art for some of the projects, and it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
No, it's not. Anymore. What I'm saying though is I'm not tilting an imaginary artist. I'm talking about people who claim that they want to be artists. We're not talking about people who actually make like a living off of it. We're talking about people who claim that they're artists, and what you really find out is their artwork isn't that good, and they're not treating it like a real job. They're treating it like a hobby. And if you're a hobbyist, if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to be a hobby. If you're not putting in those
Is it your
tons of
main
hours.
gig or your side gig?
Yeah, it's that's what I'm referring to. Is most of these people complain about AI art, in my view, are not the ones that we're talking about of like high quality artists. A lot of it looks like slop. A lot of it looks like it's not that really high level work. Even looking at some of the newer stuff, and I'll mention, like, I didn't like the artwork from the 90s, like Spawn and a few others, which everyone talks about, because I could tell it was done on a computer, or it felt like it was done on a computer rather than done with like actual like art. Well, Photoshop. A lot of them were doing a lot of stuff, drawing in like Adobe Illustrator and stuff. I'm not saying it isn't artwork, but it felt too polished the way.
Yeah. You guys.
One thing I'm looking forward to is when you can just have like an Etch-a-Sketch type thing or a tablet and just draw out your roughs of where you want things to be in like a painting, basically, picture, and then tell it what you want then. So everything's placed the way you want it. Exactly.
I used to when I used to with Playground AI. It's not around anymore. It's kind of very different from what it was. I used to literally do almost like a stick figure sketch just to get poses, and it came out. It was great, but I now I have Midjourney and I'm not sure how to. I could probably do it, but yeah, I should be able to do that. I should.
The number of times for your games where I was trying to do things. I was trying to do. I would say do 6 cryopods, and it would put in 8. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, do 6 cryopods, and then I would get to 6 cryopods. Like, okay, good. Could you extend these cryopods so it's this much by this distance? You know what, Keyback? 8 cryopods.
8.
I'm like, what?
It's for me. It's the difference between, having absolute crap. Your choices are having absolute crap hand drawn, having mediocre AI that gets the job done.
Right.
It may even be decent, or your profit margin goes to the artist, not the creator, because that's the way independent book publishing is right now. If you need art for a book, it's going to take up 75% to 90% of the profits to get the art in the book. That's not right. What are you supposed to do if you want to write a game book or any other kind of book that needs one picture every couple of pages? You just or you could use stock art that literally has only a random chance of being appropriate for the what you're talking about. Okay, I'm talking about skeletons, so I'm going to go look for some stock art of a skeleton. Okay, cool. I found one that'll work.
So
those are your choices.
Have you listened to Chubby Funster? And I'll actually agree with James. So I don't like most artwork. I like the stuff that comes from the old artwork that you see in museums, usually. That was like more photorealistic almost. But the Chubby Funster, what he did is he did a lot of his modules, and he, instead of getting a payout, which he would have to pay taxes on, they gave him credit, and so he used the credit to buy stock art. And he said that he bought enough stock art for his modules at that point that he could then find the artists on whose work they liked and hire them. You're right. On average, depending on how much you for a book is, and I was listening to Stephen Glicker, $50,000 to $100,000 for a book is not unusual for full color art. I think if you're going to do just a cover is like $5,000+ just for a cover. If you could do that. That said, is artwork does sell. The big thing is and it depends on whether you give them the rights or if you buy it outright. Like you can also buy the whole artwork, which is okay. Well, no longer
see that to me is confusing as well. So like, I'm just renting the ability to use your art, let's say, in my book.
Yes, you're licensing it. You're licensing it.
Yeah, I mean, like that. I just like
that's the because then the artist has the opportunity to sell prints and things of their artwork. So at that point, they don't have to charge as much.
So you're not taking their entire revenue stream from that piece of art from them.
Exactly. Because if you buy the artwork outright, then
they still retain it.
Yeah. If you buy the artwork outright, then you have the right to do the prints and everything else on it, which they no longer have. Whereas if you license it, then they have the right to do that.
Or like TSR just bought the artist and had a stable.
I don't think anybody's
everything they
alienating or reducing anybody specific. It's more the stereotype of the average person that works, creating fantasy art, especially fantasy art. I really wouldn't know much about in comic book art and stuff like that. Sure. If someone is making art for magazines or advertising and things like that, that's completely different. But when like my experience out of because I used to date a girl who lived in what essentially was an art colony, and I would go there every day, and there were people there that were banging shit out, as their job. But then there would be people who come in for the classes, and their reliability and their attitudes and stuff seem to be very similar and flaky. And elsewhere, I'm sure that's very different. But when it comes to fantasy art that folks who want to write a RPG can get a hold of, there's a lot of horror stories out there. That add up to these stereotypical perceptions.
So Alexander McCrease. So the people I listen to for a lot of this: Alexander McCrease, Stephen Glicker for Wolf for Combat, and of course Bear for talking about this and talking about reliability for people, where people kind of flake out. And I said it's very hard. The other thing is, as much as people talk about AI artists, if you actually look at it, most of them are outside the United States because they don't have to get paid as much to have a living wage.
Right, a lot. But then you run the risk of getting scammed, because I know people who've hired someone, and the first couple of pieces are great, exactly what they're looking for. The next paycheck gets sent, and they disappear.
Well,
drop their address and walk away. Yeah. Because what's the international enforcement on that? Not much of anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is why this is why I hear a lot of people when they start talking about artwork in game books. A lot of them will flip through if they like the pieces of art, and they look through the artists that are credited within the book to hire for other things. Mm-hmm. But but an example is let's take Braun, who did Dark Sun, a lot of his stuff, which is very iconic for that. I believe
he do a comic book as well.
I don't doubt it. I'm just saying, but I believe he still has the rights to some of those. Not all the artwork, but I believe he has some rights to some of that to sell it as prints and things. And that's why I said that's why it's a big difference when you say, hey, I'm licensing it so I can use it in my book, because then they're like, oh, I can still make revenue off my artwork and sell. You still have the right to get all that artwork into.
So it's a revenue stream for long term, and that's what artists like. It's an investment. Keep a portfolio back that they can sell prints and do all kinds of stuff.
I mean, if you look at Frank Frazetta, you can I can sell all my prints for this. But no, we're not saying that AI is great. It's just the problem is that it's raised. What people complain about is it's raised the bar for a lot of people to what's worth buying.
Mm-hmm. I'll be honest. For having a painted artist cover. Yeah. Doing a good mock-up, spend my time to make the perfect mock-up using AI and then put it to my favorite artist so they can pump that out. And then all the interiors kind of doing my own or doing stock artists, because I can doodle enough and I've kind of learned enough about inking that I can divider pieces and corner little pieces and border fringe art. As far as interior plates, though, I wouldn't be doing interior plates. I'd have somebody else do that if I had them.
It's really expensive. That's for me, with some of the projects I'm working on, I literally would never get them off the ground other than just pure text. And trust me, nobody is going to buy anything in the RPG community that's just nothing but text.
Well, that's true. But but at that point, but here's the other part. You still have the IPs for that, which the artist does not. So, it's like, who made the most money off the Beatles? It wasn't the people that were singing the songs, it was the songwriter.
If you're if you're going to put out a like just a book that's text, you best have an awesome font. You best have it big print and really well laid out.
Well, see, in most Kickstarters, if you look at color. And I found this out, is technically, like you're talking about, that counts as artwork. So if you do charts and things, that can count as artwork. But
true, you can put little fringes and like little paisley type thing designs or whatever, or like Celtic knotwork around the borders of all your charts, and just little things at the bottom of the page where like the number is. You could have like a little tiny icon of something or other, denoting the chapter or section, like things like that for touches for your eye. It's more pleasing to the eye that way.
Well, you can also do it black and white. You can do black white line art, which is much cheaper.
Yes,
and no. Ink. You can do it yourself.
Well, like the original Dungeon Master's Guide, but those eras are, or that era is gone unless you're doing like a fanzine, which you can totally get away with that. But
Shadow Dark was all black and white.
You're allowed to take an AI image, feed it through a scanner, use paint, and ink over it and adapt it slightly, and that's your thing.
It just comes up when you do that. It looks comic booky.
Well, see, Shadow's like, well, I don't like that. We're talking about successful.
No, I love Shadow Dark's artwork. It's absolutely stunning. But I know that each of those images, depending on the size, if it's an 8.5 by 11, that's like $500 a piece.
Yeah, but she's not doing 8.5 by 11. Hers is a digest size. That's one, and then the other problem.
No, I mean the original piece of art. She might have shrunk it down. But if it was originally an 8.5 by 11, the prices I was quoted in the last year and a half is about $300 to $500 a page, and if it's that quality, it's easy $500 a page.
I'm hearing, but most stuff is actually eighth of a page or quarter page, and so that's part of it. I mean, even looking for Shadow Dark, a lot of it is not a full page for that, and most of them are not.
I don't know. The copy I got of the PDF had no art in it, which was kind of depressing because I did like the art. I don't like the game, but I'm still playing it every other Saturday.
You still get to play Shadow Dark. I haven't played in a long time.
So I mean,
with OGGM,
I own all the books.
And Grandma and a couple of people.
Well, I mean, Lamentations of the Flame Princess is free unless you buy it with the artwork. Or like you were talking about. So I think the same thing with Morkborg and a few others.
How messed up is that?
For which part, Morkborg? Or I don't know.
Okay. My game is free, meaning I don't think I could charge a dime for what I've written, but if I put some guy's artwork in that I had to like coach and tell them what I wanted, etc., and not do half the work, not even a significant percentage, other than telling them what I want to put on this page to describe what I just wrote in the book, then it costs money. The guy who came up with the idea for the book, whoever the writer is, should be getting the lion's share of the money.
No,
period.
It's that the market determines who gets paid. Let's be honest about that. That's true.
I'm saying should, as in my opinion,
he has the IP rights for it. I mean, that's the big part. He has the IP rights.
But the art would not exist if the writer of the book didn't say, hey, I need some art. Hey, Mr. Artist, can you draw this very specific picture to go with my freaking ideas in my book?
It doesn't matter. The point is that what you're saying is people don't buy just a book to read. Absolutely. So which means your art has to sell it. That's what you're paying for. You still have the internet.
What's going to happen if that mentality persists is people are just going to use AI. Artists are just going to use AI to write books to put their own art in, and it'll sell and no one will complain.
Brilliant.
Well, people have that choice, and a lot of people refuse to buy books with AI.
But that's not right.
Why?
A guy who puts his heart and soul into putting words on a page.
I'm not buying for his heart and soul. I'm buying because I want to buy it. I don't care how much things you do. There's
the imagery often draws you to buy something. It's the imagery.
You know.
No, it's just disheartening as someone who wants to write and wants to see something become of it. To think that it's worthless without somebody else, bringing it visually to life. What happened to imagination?
Here's the problem: is you shouldn't be treating it. If you're going to do that, then you treat it as a hobby, and that's what a lot of it comes down to. If you're going to treat it,
well, no,
it's a hobby at that point.
That stifles any new creative people coming about. Once upon a time,
we have more RPGs now than ever, and they're popping out left.
I'm talking in the future when people who decide, hey, I'd like to write an RPG or a supplement or something. Oh, I'm not going to make any money, period, ever. But the guy who drew the pictures for it gets all the money.
Most people don't make money off of it. Well, because you're not trying to do it as a commercial. If you actually look at like most people writing this, it's I want to put this out to I hate saying it. It's the same reason that my mother wrote a book. It's the ego. My mother paid more for the artist, but my mother now has behind her name that she printed, that she is a published book author.
Mm-hmm.
It's about ego at that point. And my mother said, okay, I did that once. That's fine. And she's like, well, I had to, the thing she had to sell like a couple $100 books. And she sold, she's like, it's not a big deal. But some of it is just the process. Some of it is, you have to build up everything. But why in the world anyone thinks they can make any money off of RPGs is more amazing than anything else, It's,
well, not
name one RPG company that has not gone into bankruptcy after 10 years. I mean, TSR went into bankruptcy, Palladium went into bankruptcy, Chaosium went into bankruptcy. I assume that I don't know how Mark Miller did his stuff.
I don't know. I mean, there's almost no artwork in the original Traveler books.
Well, yeah, but even at that point, you put it out there. When did he make his money? He really made his money 2 or 3 years ago.
He made a crap ton of money, but he also made a crap ton of money throughout the, from I want to say like 79 on.
I'm not sure he made that much money. Is my whole thing. Well, I mean,
it depends on what depending on what state he lived in and what you consider a lot of money at the time.
Well, no, I mean, he could have probably gotten a real job and made more money. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, certainly, absolutely.
That's what I'm referring to. This
is a labor can literally be said about every form of art. I mean, can't tell you how many people I've met in various fields of the arts that make more money on their regular job than they ever do. I mean, that's just the reality. 1 in a million or whatever. Actually make it big or make enough money to where that's what they do exclusively for a living. I've known people who've worked on all kinds of different projects, different forms of art, but 90% of them it's their second thing they do, and it's not usually to put food on the table.
Well, that's my point. It's either an ego or in some cases it's an obsession. That's going in there. The fact that any companies are making any kind of profit always amazes me. It's the same reason of.
But that's kind of my point, James. A writer is an artist too, but in this realm, they get the least. They're the ones who came up with the idea. There would be nobody making any money at all if it wasn't for them, but they get the least of it.
But they don't get the least of it because they get the. They keep their intellectual property rights.
Not always. A lot of times they lose it, or it just never goes anywhere because they can't afford to to advertise, to get it published in quantity, because the money's going out to other people before
Well,
it goes back into creating more copies of the actual piece of work.
well, again, people have an option of doing this. This is why people buy stock art. Hey, I get the stock art, I can use it for whatever I want, and then only once they have done successfully well enough,
Chief
then they hire an artist. And that's actually what.
Hey,
like
what's up, Lord King?
Um,
James, I would be honored to have your art in any of my projects. Um, yeah, I'll show you some stuff and see what you come up with. But it's just I've watched several people try to put out books, and they can't. They just can't, because the money goes elsewhere. It doesn't go to printing more copies. Now, with print on demand, that's making things a bit more lucrative. So you can actually
Patreon.
make ones of dollars instead of coins. Like here's a roll of pennies for the last 80 books you sold. That's not worth anybody's time.
Well,
It's got to be worth everybody's time involved. Otherwise, it will only be the purview of the big companies that put out shit like 5e.
it's not the purview of actually. If you look at it, there are far more RPGs way out there. Actually, it's the barrier of entry is lower than it's ever been. Especially now that you have people with Patreon, because a lot, several of them are making money off their Patreon. Like Alexander McCrease. Actually, if you want to talk about someone that does both artwork and the writing, is I enjoy Pirate Borg because I like the guy's artwork. But yeah,
but the game is shit. If it wasn't for the artwork,
have you actually played Pirate Borg?
No.
So
I just played Morkborg, and I hated everything I read in the book. I hated it. It was just like, the only way to not be scarred is to not read it.
I don't like Morkborg, to be honest. I have never liked Morkborg, but
if it's that kind of dark and depressing, grimdark, freaking everything is shit. There's nothing worth living for. Then just fucking take my copy off to the freaking the burn pile.
You need to go look at Pirate Borg.
There's got to be some happiness, some joy, some hope, some otherwise, no thanks.
It's that's again. You need to go look at Pirate Borg because you were the one that says, "Oh, I need to go play, a nautical game." And I'm like, "Well, here's a nautical game that's kind of the artwork is not, even though while it's supposedly grimdark, the artwork is more cartoony, so it doesn't feel as dark as it should be." But I mean, the value's in there, and I like his artwork. It's a little bit better organized too. Morkborg was that was just an assault on the senses.
Did you ever read Death in Space?
I haven't done that one. No.
Don't. I'm going to save you. I'm going to save you valuable brain cells, and possibly a required prescription for lithium. Don't. I literally wanted to smoke a joint after reading that or something. I was just like, oh my god, this is so freaking miserably depressing. It's like I don't want any part of that.
I don't mind it for like Alien, but I want things. But I wouldn't say if I have only one game, that's the only game I want to play. I'm exactly the opposite. It's like, look, I want the whole gambit between serious and horror and fun, and that. Even when I play Call of Cthulhu, I'll be honest, I've been laughing for a lot of stuff because of the weird things that happen. Yeah. Oh well, my character's gonna die. Yes, but that's okay because I'm really playing it to find out the mystery.
Lord King, Death in Space is one of the books. When springtime is over and summer comes, I'm going to put in my barbecue pit and burn.
Why don't you just do it in your giveaway?
Because I don't want anybody infected by that garbage. I don't want anyone to ever read that. If I could If I could afford it, I would buy up every copy and burn them too.
What is
I
it you're
just,
talking about burning?
I mean,
Death in Space.
for the
Captain Space?
'90s with the
Death. Death
Death
in
and
Space. It's just a miserable, uh, absolutely awful freaking. It's supposed to be an RPG, but it's just miserable. It's just
depressing.
there. Yeah, there's no hope. The universe is dying, and you're gonna die too.
Yeah,
Uh,
hell with that, man.
that's it.
Man,
I
people
again,
play that game too much up in Canada. Like, get offered some juice. Don't need that
well,
shit.
Yeah, I
see,
mean,
Got to
I
stay
don't
positive
mind.
these days.
yep.
Positive. Don't need
I,
that depresso shit.
I don't
I
mind
have heard good things
horror.
about Mothership lately, but
Yeah,
uh,
I don't mind horror stuff as long as it's not my sole game that I play, which is part of the
you're
problem I
right.
had with like the World of Darkness. After a certain point, I'm like, okay, enough. Why are you all quit being the emo whiny bitch you are and actually take charge of your life? But again,
Yeah. I
I
don't
don't
want to do
mind.
When
that.
I first saw the very first hardcover for Vampire the Masquerade, like
Yeah,
sitting on the shelf, I thought, oh, this is the coolest thing ever, and bought it.
yeah,
Like it was the
yeah.
hottest thing. And then after the first campaign, and then it's just kind of like I'm like, okay, it just fell apart. And we went back to D&D. It's like I
It,
didn't
it,
find it was something we wanted to explore more than 6 months. Like it
again,
started to get weird. It's like, oh, do you got to one up the last character? Like, what's this
yeah,
dude do? Like, just drink blood from toes, or what's his deal? It's like,
I.
Yeah,
But
weird.
see,
What do you do with
some of these things are clearly very seasonal.
sure.
When September through November rolls around, I'm up for a horror game. I'm up for something spooky or you
it? Yeah,
know
Yeah.
darker, etc. No problem. But freaking spring is in the air, man. That's the last shit I want to freaking have.
yeah.
Freaking running
I
Well,
around
don't
in my
hang out in the
well,
crypt.
thanks. No,
I can
I
smell
just no.
the grass and the flowers, man. I'm like,
I.
gotta
But
have contrast. You have to have
see, I think
contrast.
that's the problem with everyone. It's like, well, this is the one game I'm going to play. Like, no, I don't want to just play one game. I don't want to
Dude,
play just one style
yeah.
of it.
it's
I,
like you
I
start playing too much of that, you start listening to Typo Negative all the time, and like you go gothy.
The
Like,
Cure,
you can't do that. Yeah,
no more. It's The Cure.
drinking wine all the time out of goblets, walking around the house. Like, come on, man. Like, it gets weird.
It's
Make it too fun.
well, I
yeah.
mean,
But I
even
know
as much
people who've
talk about
rented
Mothership.
houses, Airbnbs, and done whole get-together vampire LARPs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a
Oh,
thing.
I know.
I've never
I
done it. I've been invited, but I'm like, that's weird. Seems like the place you get roofied, and
it seems a
See,
little.
that's exactly my point, Edgelord. That while it's not my cup of tea, and I have like a crap ton of the Dark Sun books, freaking, and I live in the desert. That I would be, I would absolutely, if I was in the mood, I would be running Dark Sun. Freaking, what? Spring is here. All right, guys, you got 2 months to get ready for a Dark Sun campaign. Even
Well,
if it's only 3 months.
for me, like most things is, and this is
It's
why I know we were talking about it. I much prefer, hey, let's have a limited campaign and getting just long enough and say, okay, and once you're done with that, we'll put that off the shelf and we'll come back, which is what we're going to be doing at the Star Wars.
Yeah, see, I was having a talk with one of our friends here. I accepted very specific circumstances. I not a fan of limited campaigns. I mean, it depends on the game. But for the most part, I want like something more lengthy than just a couple of weeks or 6 months. It got to remember, I used to play D&D or Traveler or whatever game we were playing, Palladium. We'd play every day, like 6 to 8 hours every day after work, every day for years on end. And our characters and the stories went places and did things. But when we're just like, finally getting, like especially in like level based games, where you're trying to get to the next level because that's when your character can do more. Those kind of games, stopping
Mhm.
at like third, fourth level just is an absolute utter waste of my freaking time. I could literally start up a Traveler game, created for a fantasy setting using the Traveler rules, let's say, or or a whole bunch of other
Keep a
games,
system, yeah.
and start out my character like more competent than I would acquire in 6 months of a level based game, and feel like I actually accomplished something. You know, there's like a story. It's like I hate being in those games when someone says, "Oh, your game ended. So what did you guys do in the game?" And you can't give them, any kind of a like a narrative story. Like you could like tell a newbie or someone who didn't play a game what you did from point A to point B that would be of any interest to anybody in the fantasy. Let's just say read people who read fantasy books. You'd be like, okay, well, like it would be like my game was like reading The Hobbit, but we stopped when we got to the woods.
Bummer.
You know what I mean?
No. Yeah. But to me,
You've
The
been in,
Hobbit
like,
would not be a. To me, The Hobbit is a campaign, but it's not a long campaign. You know, it's not.
Depends. If you're
What's
going
neat.
1-to-1 time on The Hobbit, then it's going to take you some time. If you're jumping around like they did in the show and the story, then no, it
Well,
shouldn't take too long.
well, there's a lot of downtime where you're just like, okay, you're in Rivendell. You're gonna spend like 3 weeks there. You're like, that's different than what I'm referring to. I'm
I'm
referring.
not sure what that means, James. He's probably talking about a Vampire the Masquerade LARP or
Level-based
something.
games,
Yes,
Edgelord was talking about. It's like that's when you mentioned that the Shadow Rim. It's not level based. You just like put points into like basically star clusters or whatever that basically make signs, and those are kind of like classes. And every level you go up, you get to put another pip in.
But no, a lot of it to me is that you do the problem I have with like a lot of things is, to me, it's like a season for a game. Okay, we're going to do it for this long. You should have an arc. Arc stops. And
yeah,
then say, okay.
especially if you know you're going to change up the game after a certain amount of time. You should have a really cool ending planned, or at least a goal in mind that they could strive for. Sort of, not necessarily being a full railroad, but if nothing comes of the time you guys spent together, other than it was a nice waste of a nice expenditure of time once a week, blah blah blah.
That's not what I'm referring to, but I'm saying, but if you're going to do that, is you go, guess what? You have killed the dragon. You've done this. All right, you've completed that arc. All right, let's go play something else. And then, and I don't understand why people don't do this. Okay, guess what? When we come back to that game, you're going to be 3 to 4 years older. What did you do during that time? Because not everyone is doing, there's a lot of like downtime in real life.
It would be nice if people went back to games as well. In the last 4 or 5 years that I've been playing online, I've been in about 40 different campaigns, and not one of them started back up after they finished, if you will. And there are a bunch of them. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go back to that game. Oh, well, no, not going to happen. And as for airbrushing, I'm getting ready once the garage is done. I've got an airbrush station, and I've got my Iwata. I haven't used an airbrush.
I'm trying to think. I did that actually, exactly what James L was asking.
Isn't it like 25 psi or something like that? From what I remember,
I think it was 15 to 20 psi. You have to water it down. That's actually where I liked airbrush the best for priming, because it was so much nicer than trying to do all the other crap. Because I could get a nice even layer without it being too thick, and it's supposed to be.
I use the Vallejo stuff.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the consistency, if I remember correctly, of skim milk.
Yeah.
That's about what you want, and it gets just enough of a layer on top.
Use a bit of flow improver and airbrush thinner.
Yeah. And I thought it was great. If I want to do like 40 or 50 miniatures to prime, it only took like an hour or two. It was really nice for that. And then I've seen other stuff which I think are better for vehicles when they have stencils and things like that, when you can use the
like for numbers and symbols and stuff.
Yeah,
I have never in my
Yeah.
camouflage
Never in my
pattern.
life have I ever been able to use a stencil without paint going everywhere underneath, everywhere you
Yeah,
didn't want it to go. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Um,
I have several armies for World War II for bolt action, and all my armor's airbrushed. And I would
yeah.
do like airbrush up with highlights as well and camouflage patterns, and then ink
That's
it,
yeah.
pin ink it.
Those are that's what I do for it. But yeah, the PSI. My suggestion is that you get a good compressor. Now, admittedly, I bought a really nice compressor which has two different stations, so I can set two different ones. But I think usually for airbrushing for that, we're talking 20. I think it's less than 20 psi. And then, but if you want to do body painting, which I know James L would love, but if you want to do if you want to do body painting, then you have to put that up to 60 psi.
yeah, I can think of a few people's bodies I'd like to paint. Pretty sure that's not what you meant.
No. That's exactly what I was referring to for body
Like
painting.
Goldfinger?
Yeah, that's 60 psi that they use that for like the stuff for Sports Illustrated. That's what they do.
Yeah, I'd have to get different airbrushes. Like I'd have to get the larger ones with the
Yeah.
larger, probably gravity feed cups for that type of situation. Because I have
You don't
two
have a gravity
badgers.
feed? So
Well,
I used to use the
cups, but I
cup,
mean,
the
when you're
undercup, or
painting
whatever
that
it's called.
volume, 60 psi, you need a larger container.
Yeah. You're
Sometimes, a lot
talking.
of times, they're on the top and they're
Yeah,
gravity feeding, but
my,
it's
my
big.
first couple of airbrushes were the kind
Honk.
that the cup sat underneath. Oh God, I freaking it.
They're
I
the
didn't
worst.
know there were I know I didn't know there was such thing as gravity feed for many years. My first airbrush I got, I was like 14 years old, or maybe not even that old, for model kits where I had to buy the cans of
Yeah,
Propel. Anybody remember that? Where you'd
Oh
buy
yeah,
cans
yeah.
of just
yeah.
CO2 for and then I got a Harbor Freight with this giant freaking compressor, and I would have to water that because what I would use was apple barrel white paint, thinned down really well, and I primered thousands and thousands of miniatures over the years for my business, which is just buying and selling miniatures, and I would just crank out hundreds and hundreds of primed miniatures that way. But I would also spend hundreds and hundreds of hours cleaning my damn airbrush.
Oh yeah. I always clean it on the go, like in between. I
Mhm.
squirt a little bit of stuff in there, and I always had
Yeah,
like the bottles where you squeeze and
there
it's
were
got
so
the
many things
fine
I
tip.
didn't know,
Get that right in
and I
there.
had to figure out the hard way. Even during the time of YouTube, I didn't know, but then I watched Vince Venturella, whatever his name
Mhm.
is. He did a video on like taking care of your airbrush, and I highly recommend it because there was some things in there just like, oh wow, oh that solves all those problems I used to have, and
Yeah.
so I'm kind of
If you're not a tard, you
it
shouldn't have
wasn't
a problem. Keep taking care of it.
it
It's
didn't
all
get
about
gritty
patience,
because
diligence.
I watered it down like Omen said like skim milk. It was more water than paint, and sometimes I would have to primer it with like glazing amounts of coats, like 10 coats, before I would be satisfied that that would hold paint and not just rub off.
Yeah.
But it was also a great way to get base coats, really really thin base coats. Just
But that's
okay,
Okay.
really
come back in
important
an
depending on
hour.
how you're going to finish your model too. Like if you're going to take a dry brush method to it afterwards, then you need a thicker coat of paint on there, else you
Yeah,
will rub your stuff off.
Well, so much of it
and
is for that base primer. That was to me good, get a good coat without doing too much. Yeah, Apple Barrel is not the best.
no, it's not even meant to be. Uh, uh, it's not meant to be paint. No, it's not meant to be a primer. But yeah, actually, I find that a lot of, especially like the metallics and the weird colors, apple barrel and folk art and those crafty paints, they make great dry brushing paints because they are so thick and pasty, that they work better, especially than like contrast or speed paints, which are not meant to be dry brushed. Uh,
Yeah, no, that's that. Yeah, that's what I did for stuff like that. Yeah, you buy the big crap like that.
I have the big bottles for all that stuff because I do big armies, right? You do big armies, crap tons of points. You got to buy your supplies. And I don't like to keep buying little bottles. I'll buy the little bottles off the start, and then I'll use a bigger bottle to refill the smaller bottle because it's easier to deal with the smaller bottle in the operation. I keep the bigger ones to the side.
The only thing I can think of is, where it works better is probably whenever you start getting the FDM printing for terrain, because you really don't care if it has that, because you already have lines on there. So have a thicker paint that kind of obscures those lines is not as big of a deal. But yeah, if you're doing my own minis.
This stuff probably costs a pretty penny now getting it shipped.
Oh, dear God.
I'm glad I stocked up. And I put beads and everything as well. Like
I looked
beads.
At ball bearings.
Vallejo
or glass colors.
I put coated ones. I got coated ones though, so they're not going to rust into it.
I just remember being a kid and
hey, what's up, Death Angel?
That it used to be, when we talk about, I looked at how good the acrylic was compared to. Remember when the testers enamel paints?
Oh dear God, I still have nightmares about those. Anytime I buy a used mini on eBay, I literally say a prayer to the lead miniature gods that it wasn't painted with testers.
I mean, testers was really nice if you were going to do a larger car or something like that. But other than that, it was not. It was not something I wanted to paint for my 1-in-72 miniatures. World War II minis.
Actually, you know what? For the Airfix models, it was kind of from what I remember, it was good because it actually strengthened them and made them stiffer than that rubbery.
All the bonds and links and everywhere it joined, filled it in, gave it strength.
Mm-hmm. So this is what's in the U.S. So in the U.S. on Amazon, it says it's about $20 for 200 milliliters of primer paint.
I bought testers once, and I tried painting a miniature with it, and I was like, "What the?"
Well, then you had to use the mineral spirits or whatever you had to mix it with.
Yeah. Claiming it was a.
I threw out my brush after putting the first color on. I'm like, threw this out, and I'm like, I'll have to put this in. I made up a solution to basically get that off there. Anyhow, put it in a mason jar. Yeah, I didn't mess around with that after that. It's like it was the 90s when I got into painting, like early 90s. So like late 80s, early 90s. So Citadel was around, went to the hobby shop, bought the basic sets. You remember the ones with the demons actually on the boxes? Those are the ones I had.
Mm-hmm.
Demon boxes.
I still have some of those.
And masters and expert and all those.
I still have two of those boxes, and some of the paint bottles have never been opened and they're still liquid. So I trust that someday they'll work and I'll use them, but I just haven't. The ones that would come with like a couple of minis.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I wonder who still does. Okay, yeah, it's. But no, I was just remembering what.
Honestly, don't know, Death. Probably about an hour, half hour ago, or something. I don't know. Maybe less.
Well, because we were talking about the type of games we like, and then there was a discussion of what do you recommend for airbrushing and PSI, and that's where we went over to mini painting again. My problem is that the brushes. Every time I get into painting, I get into it big, and then life comes in, and I have to put off the side, and I'm like, okay, and then I just don't touch it again.
Speaking of, I just had to pack up all my stuff on that side of the room. I have to seal an area and do a whole thing. Like I'm still in a house that I'm building, right?
Yeah,
it's being finished, and I'm trying to get my ass busy here. But I'm procrastinating in my room and doing other parts of the house first, putting all the rest of it first, and just kind of leaving my room for last, which is Gen Xer, eh? That's how we roll. It's like everybody else's shit done first.
I mean, I thought it was fun because when they first had the N95 mask, I did that for the airbrushing just so I wouldn't have to breathe all of that in. or you do it outside. The big problem with the airbrushing is, now for James, it's not going to be that big of a deal because he's getting winter coming in, but it's during the summer when it dries out super fast as you're spraying it. Humidity has a huge impact, as does the temperature, on how your airbrush works.
Humidity is a huge thing too. It sucks with rattle cans when you're always like at the mercy of humidity, and for a lot of people,
or lack thereof.
No. At least if you don't have humidity, it's pretty standard. But like for here, we're anywhere between 30 and 80% humidity. So and especially when temperatures like during the winter, it's we're talking like 50 or 60 degrees outside, so it's not too bad. But to do it during the summer when it's like 90 something degrees outside, that's a whole different thing.
With airbrush, I have a station, like I have one of those fold up stations.
Yeah.
With the exhaust fan and everything, and I just basically, when I have that running, I just have that set up to a window, and you can do it anytime.
No, that's
the nice thing about it. And it's portable enough to pull it out of the window and close your window, in like an off season, or if you're trying to air condition. It's just easy to put it in, pull it out. It's got the whole expandable.
Hey, Edgelord King, do you have a 3D printing business? Because I'm looking for like a reliable 3D printer to hook me up with 3D prints, because I've been going looking around for things, and I found some stuff, but like on Etsy, etc. But I don't know these people, and I expect somewhat prompt or at least honest answers as to when I can expect my stuff. If you've got any recommendations other than Printpire, because those guys are freaking liars. Just saying.
I need to get Brian at some point to print off some minis for me. So
yeah, I made 3 really. I thought I was getting a great freaking situation from Printpire. A bunch of minis, a bunch of free stuff, and it's like, dude, I'm not going to send you any money unless you can get it to me by Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, no problem. Priority, blah blah blah. Monday, I got a notification of a label was printed, and that was the last thing they did. They never sent a damn thing. Come Thursday, nothing had been shipped. Oh, I took it down to the post office, but they must not have scanned it. This is I'll send it to you. I'll I've got more. I'll send it to you. I'm like, no, you just hadn't gotten around to printing it, and it's taking you this long to finally get everything printed. And I needed it by Thursday. It's now Thursday. Nothing's here. Just send me my fucking money back.
Yeah.
I was yeah. But anyway, I'm not.
I've had things come from eBay, like when you order them and they take forever, and the updates are all wackadoo. And eventually you just kind of like, you basically say, like, you play with them and you give them a little extra time, and if it still doesn't come, you just demand the refund at that point.
That's exactly what I had to do.
Things show up later and like, oh wow, I got a $300 thing. So I got 2 copies because I got the refund, bought one, got one, showed up. It's like, whatever, keep it.
This is what bugged me is
I'm not trying to chase down that shit.
This was from a Kickstarter. I had it in my mailbox, and DHL sent me a notification that they had mailed it off 5 days later.
Yeah.
I was like, could you tell me before so I know when to go check my mailbox?
Yeah.
Out here, it's a hassle to go check my mailbox, man. I got to go like a mile and something.
Yeah.
My mailbox, bro.
Well, some of it is I want to talk to my neighbors if I'm going to travel. Like, hey, I'm expecting these packages. Could you let me know when it's coming in?
Like if something's oversized and it comes Canada Post, like through our national post kind of thing, then I have to drive like half an hour to go pick that up.
Yeah.
Across a highway and all of it. Through the woods.
I just
sometimes.
I'm writing that down. Thunderstruck Workshop.
But no, I mean there's just a lot of things. I know at work they have the 3D printer, and I don't know. I'm at the point now where I'd love to do that stuff, but I'd have to have like a whole container that is its only function. It's, hey, that's my little workshop, is the 20 by
That's what a lot of people kind of do with it, right? Because it's like you don't want to breathe all that stuff in, and it's sensitive and it's printing. So people usually have it really enclosed.
Thanks, Edward.
Yeah, kind of a sealed off environment. So a tiny shipping container, and just insulate the inside. Throw in a little bit of like metal studs. You can usually get metal framing studs free, and then you just do some spray foam over the walls and some vents, maybe where you are, maybe a bit of air conditioning, and so everything doesn't melt. Your resin doesn't melt in there in the summer.
Well, that's if using resin. I think if I'm going to do a lot of stuff, is resin's nice, but that's such a pain in the ass. I think I'd just do an FDM, and like here.
Yeah, you know what though? I've picked up some FDM stuff, and I really am not a big fan. If it's something, because like every time except one piece, it's so bumpy and grainy, and I'm not sanding that shit down. You know.
Oh no! I'm talking about if I would use it for terrain, because that's really where FDM should be used. Is large.
It's still going to have these lines in it. Every piece I've ever seen has these lines that you can see like a mile away after you've painted it, and it looks crappy. You got to go either like the highest quality FDM, which I haven't seen, or you've got to go resin where there is no lines.
No. I've seen the lines.
Things I just got in the mail, like this one right here. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, actually. But one of the other pieces I got from this particular guy, it's supposed to be a smooth like car.
Oh,
and it's
no, car would be different. No, I'm thinking, but see, I want it for terrain, not actual like the
right. That's
not like the pictures that you're talking about. Because I really don't care if my house looks a little bumpy on the outside. You know,
sure.
It does have some fumes, to be fair.
Or medieval ruins, like fortresses that are ruins and stuff.
Oh, there we go.
Little bookshelf.
I just got some bookshelves in the mail today from Mantic's Terrain Trade. It was a decent deal.
Cool.
A bookshelf.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Are those 3D printed, George, or are they?
All right, cool. I'm looking for that one Bruce is always showing off. It's like a round.
George. I couldn't hear that either. What George said.
Bruce has got these bookshelves that he's always painting. They're like towers shaped. They're like completely cylindrical, but it's a bookshelf, and with multiple shelves, and it's perfectly cylindrical. So it's like an oddball bookshelf. But I freaking dig it, and I forget where he got it, but I haven't seen it. I'm going to have to go look on Etsy. I think he showed me once, and it was like really expensive.
So he's saying resin's the stinky, nasty one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But it has the best resolution. But the FDM isn't as stinky.
But FDM, you can get lines, but I'll be honest, I saw them, and from a distance, they're like, okay,
Frogman, eh?
But yeah, if I wanted to do like the terrain for Monster Apocalypse, I'm okay with the lines.
Yeah.
But I'm not okay with the minis, the monsters having lines. So those would be two different things I'd use it for.
Yeah, I got some lizard men a while back, and they were just it wasn't the time or the technology. It wasn't the time for that. FDM, I've got an FDM printer, a Snapmaker, but it's like the first one, so it's like literally like one of the oldest 3D printers ever.
Oh, and
it's never. I'm never going to use it.
Okay. No, that's cool. That's pretty nice. For me, really, for a lot of the FDM stuff where they use it to like to hold things and just to do minor parts and stuff. Like that's fine. I don't need
really. Good Lord.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean I can do that. Well, it's the Bamboo A1. There's always lines. It's just how much do you notice them from a distance, and how good are they compared to other crap? So, but yeah, like he says, it's just terrain. Like for a tree, I'm okay if there's some lines on a tree, or a building.
Yeah. Sometimes the paint really can't hide it, especially like with a tree. I could totally see it. Like as soon as you try to dry brush it, those lines just become crystal clear.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to do again, you're talking to a gamer more than a painter. I much prefer, considering that when I first played the games, we used books as shelves, as hills and things.
Yeah.
Then you go and spoil it and see what other people are doing, and you open up a White Dwarf and you see that stuff, and that kind of that ruins you.
It does, but then I realized that I'm not that good of a painter. Hey, James.
Hey, James, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. Oh man, it's like the reception is so bad on this thing. I actually hear crackle, so I might not stay too long. Well, I got it to work, and I think I figured out the recipe.
Okay, cool.
So I didn't
realize you were doing
on a block.
Yeah.
It's on a little wooden block with double-sided tape, which I just figured it's easier to kind of handle them that way. But the recipe was, I remembered something I watched in like a Vince Venturella video where he was like, put a bit of flow improver through the airbrush first, like just naked kind of thing as it is, and that helps what comes down the pipeline after it. And what Edgelord is saying about the bamboo, with the FDM printers, if you get it like this is why I haven't gone into it, because it's just a separate hobby on its own, right? Like almost like airbrushing, or probably worse, right? But if you fiddle with the settings and get to know your printer, you can get those layer lines down to like a negligible level.
Mm-hmm.
That's my contribution.
No. That's cool, man. As long as it works, we were just trying to. What
Oh yeah. So the recipe, a little bit of I put a little bit of IPA in the mix as well, because apparently that has kind of flow type like qualities. So it was like I had 6 goblins, probably about 12 to 16 drops of primer, and then like half as many drops of flow improver, half as many drops of medium, and a little bit of alcohol, and it seems to work okay. It's drying super fast too, which is interesting. Probably let it
putting in the additives. Putting in the additives really goes a long way with the airbrush.
Mm-hmm.
You thank yourself in the end.
This guy. So you mean like mix it in separately, not the cup, or?
No, I put it all in the cup.
What do you like?
I put it in the cup, and then I give it a bit of air, and I can mix in the cup. You know how there's like the cap for the cup?
Like the Yeah. But it was fun. It was so quick too. It was so quick. I'm like, all these figures that I've been buying, kind of sitting on like a hen on a pile of eggs, and like now I feel like I can actually power through some of them.
Well, James, don't take any offense to this, but it's midnight here, and I need to get to bed. So.
It's 1 a.m. where I am.
I'm gonna jump off as well. I can barely hear you guys. This
nice to meet you, though.
The profession. All right, well, good luck. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, good to see you. And, good to see everybody else. Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. Not glass.
James, you're always welcome, even no matter the connection.
All right. Take care.
I'm also going to say goodnight because it is 10 p.m. my time, and I've got church in the morning. So I will see everybody bright and early Monday, unless we're gaming tomorrow. And George, of course, hopefully I'll see you Monday morning for the second breakfast. Everybody in the chat, thanks for showing up. Off Grid, always a pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow for my AD&D game. But yeah, I got to skedaddle. I got to get up at 6:30 for church tomorrow, and it's been a long weekend. So everybody out there, have a great rest of your weekend. Love you guys. Happy trails. George, can you stick around for a second?